Chapter 216. Over the past few years, Yanji had seen a lot of similar people, but when she saw this figure, she couldn't help but feel sour in her heart. Perhaps it was because she knew that this person in front of her was Ning Cheng. Behind this ragged and staggering cultivator was a puppy who was just as sluggish as him. The puppy's body was dirty, and its fur was very dry. Furthermore, the color of its fur couldn't be seen clearly. It couldn't even walk properly, but it continued to follow the people walking in front of it. What a loyal pet beast. Xiang Jilan also apparently saw a person and a dog, as she spoke with a sigh. Sigh, this man is quite wealthy. Even his pet beast has a storage ring. It's just that there are just too many of these kinds of people in this place. The only way is... Feng Yushan had not yet finished his words, when he found that Yanji had already rushed out. Only then did Xiang Jilan discover that Yanji's eyes were a little strange. She immediately came to understand. This man who was walking unsteadily was the cultivator that Yanji had wanted to save, but was not able to save. Feng Yushan could also see that Yanji had some kind of relationship with this tottering cultivator in front of him. As such, he quickly called out from behind. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you must not touch him." Yanji's footsteps paused as she eagerly turned around and asked, "Why?" Feng Yushan was increasingly convinced that his guess was correct. He hurriedly said, "This person should be completely trapped in the grand array we are in. Perhaps he is still subconsciously deducing the array. If you touch him now, there is only one possibility. Make him completely lose himself and never wake up again." "What should we do?" Yanji suddenly panicked. Xiang Jilan walked up and asked in a soft voice, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, is this cultivator the person you were talking about? Is he in disguise?" Yanji looked at Ning Cheng, who was still walking, and forced herself to calm down, nodded and spoke. "Yes, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, he is that person." "Senior Sister, do you have any ideas? If we let him continue like this, he'll eventually reach the point where he'll run out of fuel." Xiang Jilan was silent for a good while, before she spoke up. "I have also seen this kind of situation before. There are people who forcibly take away people they are familiar with, but the result was that the other party would fall into a lost state, and would never be able to wake up. Senior Brother Yushan was right. I have an idea." "Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, quickly say it." Xiang Jilan could not wait to ask. "Set up a trapping array in front of him, and let him automatically enter this trapping array. Then he would sense the trap array and begin to break it. Once he broke through this trap array, he would think that he had broken through the array. At the same time that he breaks this trap array, you can wake him up by shouting at him. This is just what I came up with. I have not tried it, so I don't know if it will work or not." Xiang Jilan replied. Yanji immediately spoke up. "Then I will arrange this entrapment array." Xiang Jilan pulled Yanji back and spoke. "Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, let me arrange this entrapment array. This entrapment array cannot be too bad. If it is too bad, then it would not work. I've been trapped here for more than 100 years. Although I'm not like the others, I've still studied some formations." Hearing this, Feng Yushan hurriedly said, "That's a good idea. Why don't I set up the array formation? I'm a level 4 array grandmaster. That should be enough." Yanji quickly spoke up. "Many thanks, Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, but let Senior Apprentice Sister Lan arrange it. I am afraid that this array formation is too complex. Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would not be able to break it." Yanji's words were completely based on a woman's intuition. She had pulled off her veil, just to let Xiang Jilan see her appearance. If Senior Apprentice Sister Lan was able to get out of this place and return to the Lu continent, then she would be able to draw out her appearance. But she did not expect that Feng Yushan would suddenly come over and also see her appearance. After Feng Yushan saw her appearance, she immediately felt that kind of desire. This kind of intuition could not be expressed in words. It was completely an innate feeling. Although he had seen her appearance before, but although there was some appreciation in his eyes, but he did not have that kind of naked desire to possess her. Feng Yushan quickly smiled and spoke. "Yes, that's right, I'll help from the side." Yanji spoke up in a stern tone. "Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, let's let Senior Apprentice Sister Lan arrange it alone. The two of us can watch from the side. I'm afraid that if there are too many people, it would instead affect him." That's also true. Feng Yushan no longer spoke. He could see that Yanji was very concerned about this unkempt man in front of her. However, he did not care about it. In this place Feng Yushan was the heaven. A person who had lost his mind. How could he possibly fight against him? Xiang Jilan deliberately arranged an entrapment array formation a few hundred meters in front of Ningcheng, but when Ningcheng arrived in front of that entrapment array, he unexpectedly automatically took a turn, bypassing the entrapment array, and then continued to walk forward. What's going on? Xiang Jilan also did not understand as she looked at Ningcheng's departing back. It stood to reason that the cultivators who fell into this array formation would be very confused, so how could they possibly bypass her entrapment array? But Yanji's eyes immediately lit up. Ningcheng was able to bypass Senior Apprentice Sister Lan's entrapment array. It showed that he was not the same as the others, and was not the kind of muddle-headed person. She quickly spoke up. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I know what to do. I will constantly arrange some entrapment arrays in front of him. One day he will definitely fall into the entrapment array. Although Yanji's words were like that, but her meaning was absolutely not like that. What she was thinking was that since Ningcheng was able to bypass the entrapment array, it showed that Ningcheng still had his own thoughts. She kept arranging entrapment formations, while Ningcheng kept bypassing them. Maybe he had completely changed his way of thinking, and gave up on the entrapment formations in front of him. Feng Yushan frowned. He had also thought of the same thing. This cultivator seemed different from the other cultivators who were trying to deduce the array formation. He was probably not completely lost. Yanji's method might really be able to wake up the cultivator who had arranged the array formation in front of him. However, he soon no longer worried about it. It was just a profound congealing 5th-level cultivator. Even if he was awakened, he could still easily kill him. Xiang Jilan at the same time came to understand. She knew what Yanji really wanted to do, and immediately spoke up in a pleasantly surprised voice. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, this friend of yours may have only been here for a very short time. As such, she has not completely lost herself. I estimate that your method is feasible. Seeing that her own thoughts were already known by Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, Yanji spoke up in an embarrassed manner. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I'll be fine by myself. You and Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan can go back first. No need, I'll follow you. With the two of us together, we can take care of each other. I don't have anything to do when I go back. Besides, being together with you, I can also talk a lot, so I won't feel lonely. Xiang Jilan spoke without hesitation. Feng Yushan on seeing this spoke up, then I'll go back first. I'll come back to see you after a while. If you need any help, just contact me through the communication pearl. After Feng Yushan left, Yanji suddenly took out a spiritual fruit and handed it to Grey Toot Toot, who was following behind him, and said, Come, you can eat this. Grey Toot Toot did not have many pills left, as such he had to save them to eat. Sometimes he would only be able to eat a single pill every few days. Moreover, he also did not know when he would finish eating his pills. Now that Yanji took out a spiritual fruit and gave it to him, it immediately squeaked a few times, as its small claws directly grabbed the spiritual fruit in Yanji's hand. However, after grabbing the spiritual fruit, Grey Toot Toot did not eat it, but rather put it into his storage ring. It seemed to know that all the things that it ate were very precious to it. What a clever companion beast. I guess that it was reluctant to eat it. Xiang Jilan spoke with a sigh. Yanji once again took out more than a dozen spiritual fruits and handed them to Grey Toot Toot. This time Grey Toot Toot swallowed one of them, and then put away the rest of the spiritual fruits. After swallowing a spiritual fruit, Grey Toot Toot's fur obviously changed from dry to a little more moisture. This spiritual beast should have been lacking something that contained moisture for a long time. As such, its fur would be so dry. Xiang Jilan spoke again. What made the two people even more surprised was that Grey Toot Toot unexpectedly grabbed a pill and handed it to Yanji. It was obvious that it did not want to take advantage of people for free. What a principled and spiritual companion beast. Yanji was even more pleasantly surprised as she took the pill. In her heart, she could not wait to take Grey Toot Toot for herself. Seeing Yanji take the pill, Grey Toot Toot stepped up a few steps to catch up with Ningcheng. Hey, it turned out to be a top-quality true restoration pill? This is the first time that I have seen a pill of this quality. This is definitely a first-class pill. Xiang Zhilan exclaimed as she stared at the pill in Yanji's hands. Yanji could also see that the pill in her hands was of an extremely high quality. What kind of person would be able to refine this kind of pill? She was also somewhat confused. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, this friend of yours is not simple. Xiang Zhilan stared at Ning Cheng's back and spoke. A person who could give a top-quality pill to his companion beast to eat. It would be a strange thing for him to be simple. Yanji took out a jade bottle and put the pill into the jade bottle before putting it away. Before she spoke, Senior apprentice Sister Lan. What do you think about Senior apprentice Brother Yushan? Senior apprentice Brother Yushan? He is very good. The cultivators in our area have all benefited a lot from him. He is a pill master and also has a spiritual medicine garden. Moreover, every time there is a fresh spiritual fruit, he would always take it out and share it with everyone. Xiang Zhilan blurted out. Yanji was silent for a moment before she spoke. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to you and me, there are also 8 other female cultivators. I found that Senior apprentice Brother Yushan and those 8 female cultivators are somewhat unclear. Moreover, Xiang Zhilan sighed and spoke. You want to ask why the Dao companions of those 8 female cultivators did not say anything? In fact, this is very normal. In this place they will never be able to get out. As such, everyone is just looking for some psychological comfort. Their Dao companions are also aware that everyone is just a temporary group. As such, there is no need to care about such things. Yanji nodded and spoke. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that Senior apprentice Brother Yushan is a bit strange. No matter what happens to Senior apprentice Brother Cheng, I will not go back. Senior apprentice Sister Lan. Xiang Zhilan nodded. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, I understand what you mean. The reason I propose to go with you is that I do not intend to go back. Although there are a lot of people there, but that kind of life is really not what I want. In the past, I did not even dare to think about it. Anyway, the two of us also have a companion. As such, a person would not be too lonely. Besides, that puppy is really cute. Chapter 217. What Yanji and Xiang Zhilan did not know was that as early as 3 months ago, Ningcheng had already completely deduced the exit of this grand array. As long as he had enough materials and resources, he could leave this place at any time. At this moment, he wasn't trying to figure out how to get out of this place. Instead, he was trying to figure out how this formation was set up, and then completely destroy it. With his current level of proficiency in array formations, not to mention the array formations arranged by Xiang Zhilan, even if it was a rank 4 or rank 5 array formation, he would still be able to consciously bypass it. No one knew how many simulation arrays he had set up in his sea of consciousness in these 3 years. Ning Cheng's actions were indeed influenced by the array formation. If he was in a completely sober state, he would never do such a stupid thing. As soon as he found the array door, he would think of a way to leave this place. How could he waste time thinking of a way to completely break the array? With such a huge array formation in front of him, it was already a great achievement for him to be able to get out of it. However, if he wanted to completely break this array formation, then with Ning Cheng's current cultivation, it would still be a long way off. Perhaps after many years, Ning Cheng might be able to unlock this grand array, but at least for now, he couldn't do it. At the very least, he couldn't do it on his own unless his luck was really heaven-defying. And he suddenly found where the core of the array was. As the day passed by, Xiang Zhilan and Yanji tirelessly arranged a variety of array formations in front of Ningcheng. But Ningcheng would always bypass the array formations and continue to move forward. At this time, Grey Toot Toot had already been cleaned by Yanji. Grey Toot Toot could feel that Yanji did not have any malicious intentions towards it. As such, it suddenly rushed towards Yanji's buttocks and began to babble incessantly. What's the matter? Xiang Zhilan looked at Grey Toot Toot in a puzzled manner and asked. I don't know either. It only called me that after I got familiar with it. It never called me that way before. Moreover, he always calls out to my back. Yanji also spoke out in a depressed manner. She and Grey Toot Toot were not familiar with each other, so it could be explained. Now they were already very familiar with each other, so when Grey Toot Toot called out like this, It really made her unable to understand what was going on. Xiang Jilan suddenly spoke up. This dog is very creative. You can take a look at what is going on with it. Yanji also had such a thought, as she stared at Grey Toot Toot and spoke. What is your name? I've already given you so many spirit fruits, and I'm setting up this formation to help your master. Grey Toot Toot suddenly jumped up and bit down on Yanji's hind leg. Why do you bite people? Yanji quickly swatted away Grey Toot Toot. If not for her liking this dog, moreover it was Ning Cheng's companion beast, she would have already slapped it to death. Wait! Xiang Jilan's complexion slightly changed as she placed her hand behind Yanji. Yanji's face immediately turned red. Even if Xiang Jilan was a female cultivator, she was still not used to it. Don't move. Xiang Jilan's tone was very dignified. Hearing Xiang Jilan's unusual tone, Yanji did not dare to move again. After a while, Xiang Jilan put down her hand and spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, there is a spiritual consciousness tag on your body. The place where the puppy bit just now is the divine sense mark. Yanji's expression changed. I'm in here. Who would have placed a spiritual consciousness tag on me? Xiang Jilan did not speak, as she carefully swept her body with her spiritual consciousness, but was not able to find any spiritual consciousness tags. She frowned as she spoke to Grey Toot Toot. Can you see if there are any markings on my body? Grey Toot Toot did not even look at Jilan, as he chased after Ningcheng. Yanji quickly followed up and called out, Little Grey, you quickly help senior apprentice Sister Lan smell. Hearing Yanji's words, Grey Toot Toot reluctantly bit Xiang Jilan's shoe. Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness immediately fell on the place where Grey Toot Toot had bitten. After a good while, her complexion turned ugly as she spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, my body has also been marked with a spiritual consciousness tag. But it is very difficult to recognize. If not for this puppy, even if I knew about it, it would have taken me at least a few hours to find it. Yanji and Xiang Jilan glanced at each other, but did not speak. The two of them did not need to say anything to know who had placed this spiritual consciousness tag on them. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, no matter what the person who placed the spiritual consciousness tag on us is thinking, I don't think it is a good thing for us. Xiang Jilan spoke in a worried voice. Yanji was a bit more decisive than Xiang Jilan. After she understood that Feng Yushan had placed a spiritual consciousness tag on them, she immediately spoke up. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you immediately helped me cut off the piece of cloth that placed the spiritual consciousness tag. You also cut off your own and throw it here. We have to hurry. What about him? Xiang Jilan pointed at Ningcheng. Don't worry about it too much. Yanji once again urged. Xiang Jilan knew that she had stayed in this place for a long time, and was somewhat indecisive, but now that Yanji had made up her mind, she immediately cut off the piece of cloth that had the spiritual consciousness tag on Yanji's body. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag, Yanji immediately rushed in front of Ningcheng, and directly sealed Ningcheng's 5 senses. She quickly carried Ningcheng on her back, and spoke to Xiang Jilan, Senior apprentice Sister Lan. You take Little Grey and quickly follow me. Leave the spiritual consciousness tag here. We will immediately escape. Xiang Jilan understood Yanji's approach. If they let it go on like this, then when Feng Yushan lost his patience, this male cultivator called Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would be the first to suffer. Yanji also understood this point, and simply carried this male cultivator on her back, and immediately fled. Grey Toot Toot was caught by Xiang Jilan, and the two of them quickly escaped. It was not until they had escaped for a while, that Yanji finally remembered to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. A day later, Feng Yushan arrived at the place where Yanji and Xiang Jilan had left the spiritual consciousness tag. His complexion was extremely ugly to look at. He looked all around, and unexpectedly chose a direction to pursue. But this direction was precisely the direction that Yanji and Xiang Jilan had left in. Although Xiang Jilan was controlling the airship, but she was aware of what Yanji was doing. Yanji was actually helping that male cultivator to clean the dust off his body inside the cabin, although Yanji did not completely remove that male cultivator's clothes, but it was only a matter of time. In the end, Yanji would definitely strip that male cultivator naked. Xiang Jilan sighed, but it was not because of Yanji's actions. Rather, it was because of such an outstanding disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, but unexpectedly could only be together with such a cultivator. It made her feel somewhat sentimental. In her opinion, if they left this place, then Ningqing simply would not be worthy of even a single strand of Yanji's hair. Yanji had already completely tidied up Ningqing's hair, and even completely removed the disguise on Ningqing's face. When she finally managed to shave off Ningqing's beard, she suddenly froze. How could he be so young? He was definitely not even 25 years old. Yanji had always thought that the most outstanding thing about her was not her appearance, but rather her qualifications. She was not even 24 years old, and was already at profound congealing 9th level. Even in the Lu continent, there were not many of such people. But this Ningqing in front of her, how could he be so young? Ningqing's 5 senses were sealed off, but under the impact of the mysterious yellow origin, it quickly loosened up. Yanji did not have any murderous intent towards him. As such, he had always been very calm. But at this moment, a strong sense of crisis washed over him. Ningqing's mysterious yellow origin instantly broke through the seal on his 5 senses. At this moment, he also recovered his sanity. Yanji's hands had just untied Ningqing's clothes, when Ningqing suddenly sat up, while simultaneously grabbing Yanji's wrist. "It's you. Are you awake?" Ningqing recognized Yanji at the same time. Yanji was also pleasantly surprised to know that Ningqing had woken up. If she had known that Ningqing would wake up so easily, she would have already done it a long time ago. Ningqing's mind had already gone through all the things that had happened before. He was somewhat different from the others. At least he still had a clear goal in mind for what he was doing. After going through all these things, Ningqing quickly came to understand that it was Yanji who had sobered him up. "Thank you, isn't this the bottom of the Blood River? Why are you here?" Ningqing looked at Yanji in doubt and asked. Yanji spoke with joy. "I saw that you were surrounded by the Blood River otters. Moreover, the tide of the Blood River had also risen, so I was worried about you, so I rushed up to save you, but the result was that I could not save you, so I came here." Ningqing then came to understand that the reason why she came here was also because of him. He was a little embarrassed as he spoke. "I'm really sorry, I ended up delaying you for a few years." Ningqing's apology was genuine. These few years, he was sure that Yanji had been delayed. But he did not delay even a little. No one knew that at this time he was already a Tier 6 Array Formation Grandmaster. Moreover, he was only a step away from advancing to the Array Formation Grandmaster. A less than 30 years old Array Formation Grandmaster. Even in the entire Yixing mainland, it was still shocking. Yanji did not hear Ningqing's words. She did not care about it and spoke. "It doesn't matter. It is not easy to meet an acquaintance here. Moreover, we will not be able to get out of this place in the future, so I don't think there is any need to be too polite." Although Yanji had not thought about becoming Dao companions with Ningqing, but her thoughts were very simple. Since everyone was trapped in here, then there was really no need to be too polite. Ningqing was just about to tell Yanji that she could go out, when his spiritual consciousness swept towards Grey Toot Toot. He felt somewhat guilty for forgetting about Grey Toot Toot. If he had not left a storage ring for Grey Toot Toot, then perhaps Grey Toot Toot would have starved to death. "Grey Toot Toot," Ningqing called out. Grey Toot Toot's voice immediately came over, while it excitedly jumped inside. Since Ningqing woke up, it meant that its rations had been secured. "Is it called Grey Toot Toot? It really is very cute." Yanji finally knew the puppy's name. "I'll clean myself up." Ningqing saw that Yanji did not have any intention to go out, and took the initiative to speak up. Yanji immediately understood, and quickly left with Grey Toot Toot. Ningqing used several dust removal techniques to clean himself up quickly, and then changed into a clean set of clothes, before he walked out. "Senior apprentice brother Ning. This is the senior apprentice sister that I met in here, Xiang Jilan. Originally she was also from our Blue Cloud Academy, and has been trapped in here for over 100 years. Senior apprentice sister Lan. He is Ningqing." Yanji, on seeing Ningqing come out, quickly introduced him to both sides. Xiang Jilan also spoke in surprise. "Junior apprentice brother Ning. I did not expect you to be so young. To be able to study array formations in here, and still be able to wake up, you are the first one." Xiang Jilan was really surprised that Ningcheng was able to wake up, but she also did not think that Ningcheng would be so young. After Ningcheng thanked Xiang Jilan, he suddenly said, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, did you and senior apprentice Sister Lan offend someone? How could there be people chasing after us?" Chapter 218. Just as Ningcheng spoke, Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness was able to see Feng Yushan chasing after them. Her complexion turned somewhat ugly as she spoke to Yanji. "It's Feng Yushan." "Who is Feng Yushan?" Ningcheng asked. Yanji, with her fastest speed, narrated the whole story. Ningcheng, on hearing that the spiritual consciousness tag on Yanji and Xiang Jilan's body was found by Grey Toot Toot, immediately patted Grey Toot Toot's head to show his praise. "It looks like you still have a spiritual consciousness tag on you." Grey Toot Toot did not notice it. Ningcheng looked at Yanji and Xiang Jilan and spoke. Xiang Jilan increased the speed of the airship, as she sighed and spoke. "Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag is extremely obscure. If not for Grey Toot Toot, I would not have been able to find it. I guess that if there was a divine sense mark, it should be on me. It was probably left on me in the past. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you control the airship. I will go and change all my clothes." Ningcheng interrupted Xiang Jilan's words. "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, I suspect that changing your clothes would not necessarily be of any use. Since you still have a spiritual awareness mark on your body, it might not necessarily be on your clothes. If it was on his clothes, then maybe Grey Toot Toot would have already discovered it. Feng Yushan is just a trivial profound core 9th level cultivator, so there is no need to worry about it." Xiang Jilan blankly stared at Ningcheng. A mere profound core 9th level? This Ningcheng's words were simply too irresponsible. He himself also seemed to have the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Yanji was able to see the surprise in Xiang Jilan's eyes, and quickly spoke up. "I heard from senior apprentice Sister Lingwei that senior apprentice brother Ning was fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators, as well as a few dozen profound congealing cultivators. In the end, he even killed all his opponents and retreated safely. Among those profound core cultivators, there are 2 profound core 8th level cultivators." Listening to Yanji's words, Xiang Jilan couldn't believe her eyes as she looked at Ningcheng. If she had not seen Yanji first, she would have thought that Ningcheng and Yanji were performing a double act. For a profound congealing cultivator, even if it was at the peak of the profound congealing realm, wouldn't it be very difficult for him to defeat a profound core 1st level cultivator? Not to mention fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators? And there were even dozens of profound congealing cultivators? Ningcheng quickly spoke up. "I also used a broken core pearl, and was lucky enough to win. Besides, these profound core cultivators did not come up at the same time. Rather, they came up in batches. A broken core pearl. It is simply impossible to kill so many profound core cultivators." Xiang Jilan immediately said. "There are also several other means." Ningcheng did not know how to explain it, and could only speak vaguely. Even if it was just a slight difference in cultivation, it was still a huge difference. For Ningcheng, as long as he could not block his axe line's killing intent, then there was no difference between a profound core and a profound congealing. Besides, those more than 20 profound core cultivators really did not come together, which gave him a great opportunity. In fact, the only ones who could pose a threat to him during the fight were a profound core 8th level cultivator, a profound core 7th level cultivator, and a profound core 5th level cultivator. As for the other cultivators, if they could not even block his axe line's killing intent, then they would just end up as bystanders. Xiang Jilan did not ask again. She guessed that Ningcheng must have used an array formation. She had seen Ningcheng's array formations with her own eyes. Although the array formations that she had arranged were not too bad, but in the eyes of Ningcheng, who was in a trance, it was just like floating clouds. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found that Feng Yushan was getting closer and closer. As such, he simply spoke up. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you and senior apprentice Sister Lan should leave first. I will stay here to deal with Feng Yushan. I will catch up with you." "No, we can help you," Yanji replied in a very straightforward manner. Xiang Jilan's complexion was a bit gloomy. She was well aware of her own situation. Although she was a profound core second-level cultivator, but because she had not been able to cultivate for many years, her cultivation had already regressed. Once they started fighting, it would simply not be enough. It was not that she did not want to help, but she was sure that if she were to face Feng Yushan now, she would not even have the qualifications to start a fight. Who was this Feng Yushan? All the cultivators in this place were aware that he had his own secrets. His cultivation had always been on the rise. Even the 30 or so profound core cultivators living in that place did not dare to covet Feng Yushan's secrets in the slightest. This showed that all the people here were clear in their hearts, that they were far from being a match for Feng Yushan. No, once I am not a match for Feng Yushan, I have a way to escape. Moreover, I am sure that I can run faster than Feng Yushan. Although junior apprentice Sister Ji is good, but I estimate that she would not be able to contain Feng Yushan. Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. Yan Ji had not seen the scene of Ning Cheng killing dozens of profound core cultivators, but she believed that Jiao Lingwei would not lie. Plus, before in the Blood River Peak, when Ning Cheng had rescued her and Jiao Lingwei, he seemed to have a way to move quickly. Since Ning Cheng said that he could escape, then there should be a basis for it. Thinking till here, Yan Ji nodded and spoke, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, in that case we will go first." Ning Cheng watched Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan leave, but did not arrange any array formations. First, he thought that he would not need to arrange any array formations to deal with Feng Yushan, and second, it would be too late. Ning Cheng had just sent off Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan's airship, when Feng Yushan's flight-type magical weapon landed in front of Ning Cheng. The first time he saw Feng Yushan, Ning Cheng knew that this Feng Yushan in front of him was not ordinary. At least he was different from the cultivators he had seen before. Before he met Feng Yushan, the cultivator Ning Cheng had seen in the best condition was Xiang Zhilan. But Xiang Zhilan's complexion was pale, and her true essence was not visible. It was obvious that she had not cultivated for a long time. But Feng Yushan's spiritual qi was contained within his body, and was no different from the cultivators Ning Cheng had seen outside. He was even more spirited. Feng Yushan was not in a hurry to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan. Rather, he put away his flight-type magical weapon, as he looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. "You unexpectedly woke up, it's a pity. I did not expect you to be such a young man. But you are only an intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator. Do you really want to stop me?" Feng Yushan had originally calmly asked Ning Cheng, and was not even half a bit impatient, but after he asked this sentence, he suddenly remembered something. His complexion immediately changed as he anxiously spoke. "How did you wake up? Was it before you woke up? Your clothes were changed and even your body was cleaned?" Ning Cheng at first did not understand why Feng Yushan would ask such irrelevant questions. Since Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag was discovered, then wouldn't the first thing to do be to restrain him, and then continue to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan? Why would he care about when his clothes were changed? Quickly answer me. Feng Yushan seemed to have no patience at all. Ning Cheng quickly understood, as he gave a faint smile and spoke. "Who changed my clothes? Of course it was junior apprentice Sister Ji who helped me change them. What's wrong? Do you have any questions? I'll tear you apart." Feng Yushan's calm expression instantly turned ferocious, as he raised his hands and brought out a pair of yin-yang twin locks. As soon as the twin locks came out, Ning Cheng immediately knew that this pair of twin locks was at least a pair of best quality spiritual artifacts. The twin locks had not yet fully activated, when two diametrically opposite slaughter auras completely locked down the surroundings of Ning Cheng. The air around Ning Cheng at this time also turned viscous. The yin-yang twin locks obviously had not yet fallen on top of Ning Cheng's head, but the imposing manner was getting stronger and stronger, causing Ning Cheng to feel more and more oppressive. It was as if the next moment, this kind of oppression would completely tear him to pieces. Ning Cheng immediately realized that Feng Yushan's strength was far beyond those of the profound core cultivators, who were trapped in the second segment of the law's way. He immediately brought out the cosmic true devil axe, and directly tore apart the two slaughter auras from the yin-yang twin locks, while at the same time bringing out the tyrannical devil axe intent. The axe intent and the yin-yang twin locks yin-yang killing auras clashed together, giving out bursts of bang-bang sounds. Devil cultivator. Feng Yushan's complexion immediately changed. As the yin-yang twin locks descended even more rapidly, the yin-yang killing auras condensed into dozens of huge gray-colored true essence balls. After Ningcheng's cosmic true devil axe tore apart the first wave of the yin-yang twin locks slaughter auras, it directly swept up the angry axe's killing intent, bringing out a whirlpool. These axe intent whirlpools instantly collided with the gray-colored balls formed by the yin-yang twin locks. Boom boom boom. It was as if a warehouse of explosives had been set on fire, as the terrifying sounds of explosions tore apart the silence of the surroundings. In this black sandy land, the two people's true essences directly blasted out a large crater. Ka. After the killing intent and imposing manner exploded out with a loud bang, the cosmic true devil axe and the yin-yang twin locks solidly collided together. Ningcheng was forced back dozens of steps by this kind of powerful backlash, before he was barely able to stand up. He was shocked to find that although they were both profound core cultivators, the disparity between them was like heaven and earth. In the battle just a moment ago, he was clearly at a disadvantage. Although he was fighting against Feng Yushan, compared to fighting against hundreds of cultivators who were weaker than him, the effect was completely different. A fight between cultivators was really different from a fight between ordinary people. It was not that the more people there were, the better it was. Moreover, it was also not a simple superposition effect. Although he still had a backup plan, but if he wanted to fight against Feng Yushan head-on, then he would have to rely on array formations. Since this Feng Yushan was able to stay in this place for such a long time, then his attainments in array formations would definitely not be bad. But Feng Yushan was even more horrified than Ningcheng. Ningcheng's cultivation was indeed only at profound congealing 5th level. As such, the gap between them was like heaven and earth. Yet this move of his unexpectedly only caused the other party to fall slightly. If the cultivator in front of him did not have any secrets, then even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. The reason why he was able to live in this place until today, moreover living a very comfortable life, was because he had his own secrets. He had to take down this cultivator. As for Yanji, he was not afraid that she would be able to escape. As long as she was in this place, then this place would be his territory. Ningcheng was just thinking of a way to get rid of Feng Yushan, when Feng Yushan waved his hand, and a human-shaped puppet with a height of more than 10 feet appeared in front of Ningcheng. A formidable imposing aura exuded from the body of this puppet, causing Ningcheng to shiver. This kind of imposing aura seemed to be comparable to that of Kong Peng Peng. Was this a soul essence puppet? Ningcheng immediately understood. This was definitely a soul essence puppet. Just one Feng Yushan, he would have to scheme against him. Moreover, it would be difficult for him to deal with him. If he added a soul essence puppet, then he would not even need to fight. Go, he must go. He was not anxious to deal with Feng Yushan. One day he would definitely come back. As Ningcheng thought till here, he directly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings on his back, bringing with it a ray of light. In just a twinkling of an eye, he was already far away. The twin heavenly cloud wings refined from the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Feng Yushan's eyes were incomparably sharp. As soon as Ningcheng's twin heavenly cloud wings flashed, he was able to clearly see it. At this moment, he was not angry at Ningcheng for leaving. Rather, his eyes were filled with surprise. He had never thought that one day he would be able to obtain the twin heavenly cloud wings. In his opinion, as long as he was trapped in this place, anything would eventually belong to him. Chapter 219. In addition to Yanji letting her imagination run wild, if Xiang Jilan could think of something like this, then Ningcheng would certainly also be able to think of it. He decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tags on Yanji and Xiang Jilan. He believed that with his spiritual consciousness, as long as he was careful, he would absolutely not be discovered by the two of them. It wasn't that he did it on purpose, but it would be awkward if he brought it up. Thinking that Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness was constantly looking at her body, Xiang Jilan's complexion also turned strange. Becoming Dao companions with someone here was more of a spiritual sustenance. Now that someone was using their divine sense to scan her body, how could she still pretend that she didn't know? For the sake of the twin heavenly cloud wings, not to mention chasing for a few years, even if he had to chase for a few decades, he, Feng Yushan, would also be able to do it. Xiang Jilan and Yan Ji simultaneously saw the twin heavenly cloud wings on Ning Cheng's back. At this moment Yan Ji finally understood why Ning Cheng was able to teleport away from the Blood River Peak. It was because Ning Cheng had obtained the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Just how big of an opportunity was this? As for Feng Yushan, who was using a flight-type magical weapon, he had always been following behind them. Ning Cheng could not carry the two of them and escape forever, right? Even if Ning Cheng had the twin heavenly cloud wings, his true essence would eventually dry up. Once Ning Cheng's true essence dried up, wouldn't Feng Yushan be able to catch up with him? Yan Ji recovered from the initial unnaturalness. Originally, she was just letting her imagination run wild, but she did not think too much about it. Once she returned to her senses, she immediately remembered the matter of the spiritual awareness imprint. After Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Xiang Jilan, he was also incomparably embarrassed. He did not want to let Xiang Jilan know about it, but he also believed that he could do it. But in the end he was still discovered. Moreover, it was a collision of spiritual senses on the other party's body. If he had known that the spiritual consciousness tag would be in such an easy place to find, then Ning Cheng would definitely not have looked for it under Xiang Jilan's feet, which would have made everyone feel awkward. Xiang Jilan did not know about the origin aura, but she could feel that Ning Cheng's aura was different. She immediately understood that Ning Cheng carrying her and Yan Ji running away were not the same thing at all. If the one he was holding was Ji Luofei, he would have long since used his spiritual consciousness to investigate it. No, she was different from Nailan Wuxia. She would at least ask for a reason. However, that Nailan Wuxia didn't even ask for a reason before starting. Ning Cheng knew that Xiang Jilan understood the gravity of this matter, and should have acquiesced in his search. But Ning Cheng soon felt embarrassed. This kind of scene was completely different from watching a pictorial, or even watching a small movie. This was a real thing, and was even sandwiched in his arms. How do you know? Yan Ji asked in doubt. Even if Xiang Jilan had not cultivated for a long time, but with her cultivation, her skin was still snow white, and her body was incomparably plump. This made Ning Cheng's face turn a bit red. After all, he was just a little virgin. Ning Cheng was just like a thief. His spiritual sense was carefully moving around Xiang Jilan's body. He was sure that Xiang Jilan would not be able to find him. Yan Ji thought about how her mind had wandered a moment ago, and seemed to have thought about something that she should not have thought about, causing her face to turn red once again. And then she quickly changed the topic and spoke. Where should we go now? No, you do not have a spiritual consciousness tag on you, so Feng Yushan should not be able to catch up. Ning Cheng immediately replied. However, he didn't move his spiritual sense away. This kind of thing couldn't be done casually. If Xiang Jilan was the same as that Nailan Wuxia, and started cursing or acting like a shrew, then Ning Cheng would rather immediately put her down, and escape by himself. After determining that Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan were not paying attention to him, Ning Cheng's spiritual sense fell onto Xiang Jilan's body. He felt that the possibility of Xiang Jilan being tagged with a spiritual consciousness tag was much higher. After all, Yan Ji had not been here for a long time. If he could not find the spiritual consciousness tag on Xiang Jilan's body, then he would have to look for Yan Ji's body. How could she warn Ning Cheng? This time she finally felt it. Suddenly she understood why Nailan Wuxia had wanted to make a move the moment she woke up. If it was not for Ning Cheng, who she had some feelings for, and was replaced with someone else who was hugging her tightly and trying to escape, what would she think in her heart? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had wrapped around the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. Xiang Jilan was very clear about it in her heart, and also felt relieved. Finally found it, otherwise that Feng Yushan would have definitely caught up with the three of them. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was very careful, and Xiang Jilan was flying in his arms, which provided him with a lot of convenience. But after half an hour, Ning Cheng's hands trembled, and almost dropped Xiang Jilan to the ground. Moreover, his face also turned embarrassed. He did not think that while he was carefully searching Xiang Jilan's body, Xiang Jilan was also using her spiritual consciousness to check her body. Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan, who were still rapidly escaping on the airship, had already heard the sound of an explosion, causing the two of them to feel very uneasy in their hearts. As they looked at each other, but did not know what to do. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag from Xiang Zhilan, Ningcheng did not continue to search Yanji's body. He flew for a while, and determined that Feng Yushan did not continue to follow them, and understood that Yanji's body really did not have a spiritual consciousness tag. As such, he did not need to continue to search. Feng Yushan, who was already close to them, sneered. "You think you can just walk away like this? I don't believe that you would be able to fly for a few years while hugging two people." Ningcheng nodded and spoke. "That's right, let's go out. Although I can't completely master this array formation, but I should be able to find the exit, but I estimate that it would take about 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, I would also need a best quality spirit stone to activate the array door." "Ah, I remember, senior apprentice brother Ning, senior apprentice sister Lan, and I might have a spiritual consciousness tag on our bodies. If that's the case, then wouldn't it mean that Feng Yushan would be able to catch up to us wherever we go?" Although Yanji knew that this was not the time to care about such trifles, but being hugged by Ningcheng while flying, her heart was still thumping wildly. Strictly speaking, this was the first time that she had ever been hugged by a man like this. The last time she had also been saved by Ningcheng, but in that short period of time, she did not feel that Ningcheng had already let go of her. "Go out?" Yanji and Xiang Zhilan asked almost at the same time in amazement. However, the two of them were not ordinary people, and immediately understood the meaning of Ningcheng's words. Ningcheng wanted to take them away. With the speed of the twin heavenly cloud wings, that Feng Yushan would definitely not be able to catch up to them. Ningcheng brought out a flight-type magical weapon and spoke. "Now let's first get on the airship. We will first go to a place, and then find a way to get out. This place is something that I have calculated out. I want to find something." Her body unconsciously gave rise to some shivers, and even had a somewhat shy reaction. At this moment, she could only close her eyes and retract her spiritual consciousness. Fortunately, she could feel that Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness was still abiding by the rules, and did not offend her, and was truly searching for the spiritual consciousness tag. If the two of them were originally only suspicious of Ningcheng's words, but when Ningcheng said that he needed best quality spirit stones to activate the array entrance, the two of them completely extinguished the thought of going out. If best quality spirit stones were so easy to obtain, then they would not be called best quality spirit stones. Fortunately, after Xiang Zhilan retracted her spiritual consciousness, she did not say anything, she did not even give a snort. Only her skin was still trembling, but these tremors quickly returned to their original state. A profound core 9th level cultivator with a soul essence cultivation puppet was chasing after him. If he did not do this, then would he not want to live? Ningcheng had guessed it right. Xiang Zhilan had indeed acquiesced to Ningcheng's wanton search of her body. At the very beginning, she was still somewhat angry and ashamed, but she soon calmed down. She understood that Ningcheng's actions were not unreasonable. On the contrary, if Ningcheng had proposed it, and she had to agree to it, then it would have been awkward. Xiang Zhilan decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tag in her body. She believed that she would eventually find the spiritual consciousness tag by herself. The twin heavenly cloud wings brought out a faint trace in the air, and in just a twinkling of an eye disappeared from where she stood. If she had known that Ningcheng would do such a thing, then she would never have used her spiritual consciousness to investigate. This kind of thing was something that everyone did not know about, or at least pretended not to know about it. After the shyness passed, she was even more horrified. Ningcheng's cultivation did not seem to be high, although his spiritual consciousness was probing her body, but she was unexpectedly not even the slightest bit aware of it. Or rather, if she had not happened to sweep out with her spiritual consciousness, then she would have absolutely not been able to detect Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness. In this incomparably empty black sand field, the explosive sounds of the fight between Ningcheng and Feng Yushan could be heard from a very far distance. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness finally settled on Xiang Zhilan's left ear. The spiritual consciousness tag was placed under the skin, and was incomparably obscure. With Xiang Zhilan's cultivation and her previous vigilance towards Feng Yushan, it should be normal for Feng Yushan to place such a spiritual consciousness tag on her. At this time, Ningcheng suddenly appeared on the airship and anxiously spoke. Feng Yushan has a soul essence realm puppet. I am not his opponent. Put away the airship. I will take you away from here. Otherwise he will definitely catch up to us. Yanji's imagination was running wild, as she completely did not know what she was thinking. Xiang Jilan was a lot calmer than Yanji. The aura coming from Ningcheng's body was somewhat different from other cultivators. It seemed to be an indescribably pure aura. It was like the kind of pure aura one would feel when they were just born. It was something that could not be described with words. The two people's spiritual consciousness unexpectedly collided with each other on her abdomen. Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness in a split second. Her body also trembled. She instantly understood the meaning behind Ningcheng's actions. Ningcheng wanted to find the spiritual consciousness tag on her body without her knowing about it. It should be because he was afraid that everyone would feel awkward with each other. Yanji put away the airship, and just as she held Grey Toot Toot in her hands, Ningcheng had already wrapped his arms around her and Xiang Jilan's waist, while at the same time vigorously wielding the twin heavenly cloud wings. Xiang Jilan's heart was in a dilemma. Even if she knew that she would not be able to get out of this place, she was still a disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy. Moreover, she also knew about morality and integrity. If she reminded Ningcheng, it would mean that she wanted Ningcheng to look for the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. She and Ningcheng had no relationship at all. So how could she let Ningcheng do such a thing? Not to mention that junior apprentice sister Yanji treated this Ningcheng differently? Xiang Jilan did not want to make Yanji embarrassed, and quickly spoke up. I have already found the spiritual consciousness tag on my body, and even removed it. You just did not pay attention to it a moment ago. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness was incomparably powerful, since he had found Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness tag. His spiritual consciousness directly wrapped around Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness tag, while simultaneously bringing out a jade bottle. Throwing this trace of spiritual consciousness tag into the jade bottle, he sealed the jade bottle and threw it away. Listening to Ningcheng's words, Yanji did not respond, but Xiang Jilan already understood. She was sure that Ningcheng had also searched Yanji, but Yanji's cultivation was lower than her. As such, she would absolutely not be able to detect it. Thinking about Yanji's attitude towards Ningcheng, she did not think that Ningcheng had done anything wrong. Since they could not get out of this place, then Yanji and Ningcheng would always be together. As such, using her spiritual consciousness to check Yanji's body was nothing. Chapter 220. This place is also covered in sand. What are we doing here? Xiang Jilan and Yanji were puzzled as they looked at the black sand in front of them. They did not understand what Ningcheng wanted to do here. I calculated the array formation here, although I found a way to crack it, but I did not fully understand this array formation. To crack this array formation, you need to arrange the communication array flags of the entire array. These array flags have been arranged by me for the past few years. Now we just need to use the spirit stones to get out of the array formation. According to my calculations, this place should be the array formation heart. Ningcheng explained. Do you really know the way to get out of this array formation? Xiang Jilan looked at Ningcheng with complete disbelief, not to mention that it was impossible to obtain the best quality spirit stones. Even if he obtained the best quality spirit stones, Xiang Jilan did not believe that Ningcheng would be able to break this array formation. She did not know how many cultivators were trapped at the bottom of the Blood River. Moreover, there were also some amazing array formation geniuses among them. But she had never seen a person able to get out of this place, nor had she seen a person able to break this array formation. Ningcheng did not speak again. It was better to do it himself than to talk. He took out more than a dozen array flags and threw them out, and then scattered some spirit stones to provide the spiritual source. After a few breaths, a black irregular door suddenly appeared in front of the three people. There is actually a hidden door here? Xiang Jilan once again spoke out in surprise, while in her heart she was already doubting whether Ningcheng could really get out of this place. This door can only open for at most 10 breaths of time. Let's hurry up and go in. Ningcheng spoke as he took the first step into the door. Yanji and Xiang Jilan, on seeing this, immediately followed. When the three people entered the door, they were suddenly stunned by everything in front of them. They had all fallen into the bottom of the Blood River, because of the Blood River Mountains, the spiritual qi at the bottom of the Blood River was scarce. Or rather, there was no spiritual qi at all. But here there was also a long blood river. On the contrary, the spiritual qi here was extremely rich. This blood river was long and winding, and simply could not see the end of it. The Blood River Mountains seemed to be flowing, but there were no waves at all. What was even more amazing was that this blood river seemed to be a huge circle, and one could not see the two ends. The blood river was not wide. As they stood by the side of the blood river, they could see that the width of the blood river was not more than 10 feet. In the middle of the circular blood river, there was a black sand, and in the middle of this sand, there was a skeleton. A golden talisman floated above the skeleton. Such a big talisman! Yanji exclaimed. Ning Cheng had never seen such a large talisman before. This talisman had a radius of several dozen feet. Moreover, it was emitting an extremely terrifying and profound aura. If it wasn't for the blood river blocking it, they wouldn't have been able to block this aura. Why do I feel that this blood river is actually a restriction array formation? Xiang Jilan suddenly spoke after looking at it for a long time. You should be right, this blood river is definitely a restriction. Not only is the blood river a restriction, even the Blood River Mountain outside, and the Blood River Peak above the Blood River Mountain, are also restriction array formations. This restriction is a natural restriction array formation. It seems to be specially made to trap this talisman. Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice. He had been deducing array formations for decades. As such, his knowledge and level regarding array formations was far from what Xiang Jilan could compare to. There seems to be words on the talisman. Yanji also saw it. Xiang Jilan nodded and spoke. Yes, it has the word Sky Splitter written on it. Ning Cheng spoke. I just probed it with my spiritual consciousness, although we can see the opposite side of the blood river, but our spiritual consciousness is not able to pass through the blood river. We can forget about crossing the river. If we cross the river, we will definitely be swept away by the blood river. That corpse and the talisman might be a good thing. Since we can't get them, then we should hurry up and get out of here. Ning Cheng spoke while taking out a best quality spirit stone. Fortunately, I happen to be able to take out a best quality spirit stone. As for the high-grade spirit stone, you do not have to worry about it at all. Can we really get out? Yanji had never intended to go out, but now that Ning Cheng not only said that they could get out, but also took out a best quality spirit stone, she couldn't help but ask in a surprised tone. Ning Cheng gave an sound. I guess that this array formation and even the entire Blood River Mountain was created by this talisman. Moreover, the spiritual qi from the outside is also completely absorbed by this place. To get out of this array formation is very simple. As long as we can find the array heart, which is the spiritual sacrifice of this river. It is somewhat different from ordinary array formations. How do you know that we can break this array formation in this way? Xiang Jilan blurted out. She came from an 8-star academy and had learned a lot of things, but she had never heard of a method to break an array formation using a spiritual sacrifice. Ning Cheng had to speak up. I also slowly deduced it, before I scattered a lot of array flags outside. It was in order to open the door and find this place. As long as we can get here, we can use the spiritual sacrifice. If we are trapped in this place again, then as long as we have enough spirit stones, we can quickly get out. Moreover, the spiritual sacrifice is not to break the array, but rather to provide the spiritual qi of the blood river, and then take the initiative to send us out. Yanji glanced at Ning Cheng but did not speak. Although she and Ning Cheng had not been together for a long time, but that did not stop her from appreciating Ning Cheng. If she was really trapped in this place with Ning Cheng, then perhaps it would not be very difficult. But once they got out, she and Ning Cheng would at most be good friends. Although Yanji did not speak, it did not mean that Xiang Jilan would not consider this matter. If Ning Cheng could really bring them out, then there were some things that she had to make clear. Previously she had thought that everyone would not be able to get out. As such, she thought that it would not matter if Ning Cheng saw Yanji's body. If they could get out now, then Yanji's body being seen by an outsider, it would not be a small matter. With Yanji's appearance and qualifications, after she advanced to the profound core realm, there would definitely be many geniuses who would go to the Blue Cloud Academy to propose marriage. She could see that Yanji had a good impression of Ningcheng. Even if she had a good impression of Ningcheng, even if she was not reserved, she would not take the initiative to look for Ningcheng. If Ningcheng had not seen Yanji's body, then it would not have mattered, although Ningcheng was good, but Yanji's future was much brighter. But now it was Ningcheng who had taken advantage of her. Yanji did not know about it. As for her own body being seen by others, in any case, once she got out, she would put all her focus on cultivation. Thinking till here, Xiang Jilan directly asked, "Junior apprentice brother Ning, are you a rogue cultivator?" "I am also a rogue cultivator. I am in the cultivator army. After we get out of the law's way, I estimate that I will have to leave the cultivator army." Ningcheng honestly replied, "There was no need to hide this. Although the Blue Cloud Academy is only an 8-star academy, but it is only a matter of time before it is promoted to a 9-star academy. If you are willing, I can introduce you to our Blue Cloud Academy." Xiang Jilan stared at Ningcheng and said. Yanji was also looking at Ningcheng with a face full of expectation. She really had a very good impression of Ningcheng in her heart. Ningcheng quickly spoke up. "Many thanks for Senior Apprentice Sister Lan's kindness, but after leaving this place, I'm afraid that I will not be staying in the Lu continent for a long time. Besides, I like to be free, so it's better for me to be a loose cultivator." Ningcheng knew that he had a lot of secrets on him. Moreover, with his terrifying consumption of cultivation resources, staying in the academy was not suitable for him. It's also free in the academy. Core disciples not only have their own caves, but they can also go wherever they want. At the same time, they also have the academy's protection. Besides, I think that if you and junior apprentice sister Yanji can become Dao companions in the future, then it would be very good. Xiang Jilan finally spoke out her thoughts. Ningcheng was secretly cursing in his heart. If he had known that Xiang Jilan would have such intentions, then he would have definitely diverted the topic. Although Yanji was beautiful, but his mind was really not on this matter. If the first person he met was Yanji, then it would have been possible. But in the modern society, it was basically monogamy. As such, he already had Ji Luofei. As such, he could not have any relationship with Yanji. Not to mention that he would not have any relationship with Yanji. Even if he could return to Earth, and Tian Muwan took the initiative to look for him, he would not have any relationship with her. The problem was that Yanji was an outstanding woman, and was one of the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers on one stalk. Once he refused, it would definitely cause people to lose face. Although Ningcheng and Yanji had not been together for a long time, but he knew that Yanji was extremely competitive. Moreover, this time Yanji had fallen into this place in order to save him. Coupled with the fact that Yanji had helped him before, if he refused, then what should he say? Xiang Jilan was not a fool. When she saw the expression on Ningcheng's face, she knew that she was being reckless. She had never thought that in the face of such an outstanding woman like Yanji, Ningcheng would still hesitate. Yanji's complexion immediately became a little strange. She had always thought that Ningcheng also had a favorable impression of her. Otherwise, how could he have come over when Zhang Sunyan called him? Ningcheng obviously came over to save her, and not to save Jiao Lingwei. She was just about to open her mouth to break the awkwardness, when Ningcheng suddenly smiled and spoke. "Junior apprentice sister Ji is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. I am just a rogue cultivator. Oh, senior apprentice sister Lan is really too anxious. I have not yet advanced to the profound core realm. This kind of thing can only be mentioned after I advance to the profound core realm. Right, senior apprentice brother Ning, you said that you can perform a spiritual sacrifice. Why don't you give it a try?" Yanji interrupted Ningcheng's words, as she spoke with a smile. When she said those words, her tone had already returned to normal. Originally, she did not think that she and Ningcheng would become Dao companions. After all, the academy had already made plans for a person like her. But now that senior apprentice sister Xiang Jilan had brought up this matter, she found that she really did have such thoughts towards Ningcheng. Especially when she knew that she could not get out of this place, this kind of subconscious thought was even more obvious. Good. Ningcheng finished, as he took out 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones and sprinkled them into the blood river in front of him, while simultaneously bringing out a dozen array flags, and finally threw a best quality spirit stone into the blood river. Just a few breaths later, the blood river suddenly began to churn, as a thick spiritual chi mist formed a whirlpool. This whirlpool was getting bigger and bigger, as it slowly wrapped around the three people. When the three people were unable to even release their spiritual consciousness, they immediately felt their bodies become light. A burst of dizziness washed over them, as Yanji and Xiangjilan appeared at the foot of the endless blood river peaks. Did we really come out? Xiangjilan was ecstatic as she looked at the endless blood river peaks around her. Even if she died of old age in this law's way, it would still be much better than dying at the bottom of the blood river, where there was not even a bit of spiritual qi. Senior apprentice brother Ning? The first thing that Yanji saw was not that she and Xiangjilan had come out, but rather that Ningcheng had not come out. Chapter 221. Ah, Ningcheng really didn't come out? Xiangjilan also discovered that Ningcheng was not here. Only she and Yanji had come out. I'm afraid that the spiritual sacrifice ceremony can only allow 2 people to come out at most. Senior apprentice brother Ning gave the opportunity to the 2 of us. Ningcheng had saved her twice in a row, and she had wanted to save Ningcheng once, but instead had ended up blocking Ningcheng's path to survival. Xiangjilan pulled Yanji's hand and spoke. It shouldn't be like that. There might be some other problem with the spiritual sacrifice ceremony. Let's go to Blood River Mountain first and wait for him outside. Yanji suddenly asked, Senior apprentice Sister Lan, does the Blood River Mountains mean that as long as you stay there for more than 3 years, you will not be able to enter? If we go out this time, it should be impossible for us to come back, right? Xiangjilan nodded and spoke. That's right. The Blood River Mountains can only be entered by people who have been in the law's way for less than 3 years, but they can also stay here for as long as they want. Once they left, they would not be able to enter again. But you don't have to worry, junior apprentice brother Ningcheng is a good person, and is also a genius. I have been at the bottom of the Blood River for so many years, but I have never seen anyone who could find the way out. He might be the only one. Since he was able to find a way out once, then he should be able to find a way out a second time. Xiangjilan comforted Yanji. Yanji shook her head. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, even a single best quality spirit stone is already a huge opportunity. How can there be 2? Even if he had a way to get out, he would not be able to do so without top quality spirit stones. He and that Feng Yushan are not on good terms. Even Grey Toot Toot came out with me. He is doomed to be alone inside. Seeing Yanji constantly looking at the Blood River peak, Xiangjilan's heart immediately tensed up. Junior apprentice sister Yanji wouldn't want to enter the bottom of the Blood River again, right? If she thought that way, it would be crazy. Junior apprentice sister Ji, let's go out first. Even with our current abilities, we can't save him. Junior apprentice brother Ning had finally managed to get us out of here. We must cherish this opportunity. Xiangjilan hastily tried to persuade her, as she tried to make her tone as gentle as possible. Yanji sighed, and only spoke after a long time. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that I owe him. I don't like to owe people anything, let alone a life. But, Xiangjilan thought for a moment, and finally spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, the fact is that Ningcheng might feel that he owes you something in his heart, so you should not think too much about it. On the path of cultivation, one should avoid this kind of mentality the most. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to saving me from the hands of Feng Yushan, Ningcheng has already saved me 3 times. This time maybe it was also because of me, that he did not come out. How could he possibly owe me? Yanji looked at Xiangjilan in complete confusion. Xiangjilan's face turned slightly red as she spoke. Ningcheng, in order to check whether or not you have Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag on your body, he should have used his spiritual consciousness to probe your entire body. Originally, only Ningcheng and I knew about this matter, but now that Ningcheng has not come out, even if I tell you, you don't have to take it to heart. In Xiangjilan's view, Yanji was a young girl with a bright future ahead of her. For a rogue cultivator like Ningcheng to spy on her entire body, it was obvious that Ningcheng had taken advantage of her. Yanji's face also turned blood red, but she did not feel surprised. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, do you know about this matter? Xiangjilan saw that Yanji was not very excited, and asked in a puzzled manner. Yanji nodded and spoke. I guess some of it, but I didn't dare to confirm it. Now that you've said it, I'm sure of it. She was a genius disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, even if she was distracted at that time, and did not think of this matter. Afterwards, she could also guess that it was because Ning Cheng had seen her body, that he was sure that she did not have a spiritual consciousness tag on her body. If Ning Cheng knew that Yanji was thinking like this, he would have definitely cried out in injustice. He had seen Xiang Zhilan's body, but he really had not checked Yanji's body. Senior apprentice sister, you are holding my hand. Are you afraid that I would suddenly rush up to the Blood River peak, and then deliberately enter the bottom of the Blood River? Yanji suddenly spoke. Xiang Zhilan somewhat awkwardly let go of Yanji's hand and spoke. I was thinking too much. You should not do such a crazy thing. You have to know, even if you went in again, you would not necessarily be able to find Ning Cheng. Moreover, the possibility of you falling into the hands of Feng Yushan is even greater. Yanji's tone became somewhat faint. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, do you think that my character is not even a little bit gentle? Moreover, I am careless and do not care about trifles? Even speaking without any scruples? There are a few, but it doesn't matter. Cultivating the Tao is just to act according to your heart. You don't have to care about other things. Xiang Zhilan really felt that Yanji was lacking a young girl's modesty. Sometimes the words that she spoke were not like what a young girl would say. Senior apprentice sister, you should know about the Gui Yuan city, right? It is one of the 3 9-star academies of the Lu continent, alongside the Wu Nian Academy and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Yanji did not continue with the previous topic, but rather changed the topic to another place. I know. Yanji sighed and spoke. The Lu continent has a saying. The first 4 sentences are, twin lotus flowers, begonia blossoms, heavenly stars half-riding clouds. What do you mean? It refers to the 9 genius disciples, among which the twin lotus flowers refers to me from the Blue Cloud Academy and Nalan Wuxia from the Wu Nian Academy. The begonia blossoms refers to the 3 siblings of the Gui Yuan city, Gui Yuhai, Gui Yutang and Gui Yuhua. The heavenly stars refers to our academy's genius senior apprentice brother Kui Tian, and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Bei Xingjin, while the half-riding clouds refers to the Wu Nian Academy's Cheng Yixiao and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Banyun. Xiang Zhilan immediately understood, as she gave a wry smile and spoke. It seems that in the 100 years that I have been trapped here, the Lu continent has produced a lot of talents. Yanji spoke up. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, don't you think that the origins of these people are very fixed? The 3 9-star academies and our Blue Cloud Academy. Even a fool would know that the Blue Cloud Academy is about to become a 9-star academy. The Blue Cloud Academy had the strength to become a 9-star academy 100 years ago, so it is not unusual for it to become a 9-star academy. Xiang Zhilan certainly did not think that the Blue Cloud Academy did not have the qualifications to become a 9-star academy. In fact, in the Lu continent, the 3 9-star academies have been in balance for a long time, while the strength of the Wu Nian Academy has declined greatly. They are not willing to let the Blue Cloud Academy become the 4th 9-star academy in the Lu continent, so they have joined forces to resist the Blue Cloud Academy. But in recent years, the Blue Cloud Academy has been producing many geniuses, and is incomparably exuberant. The Blue Cloud Academy's senior apprentice brother Kui Tian is less than 50 years old, but already has the cultivation of soul essence realm. Other than the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Banyun, no one can compare to him. In order to win over the Gui Yuan city to support the Blue Cloud Academy, the Blue Cloud Academy came to the Gui Yuan city to propose marriage, hoping that Gui Yuhua and senior apprentice brother Kui Tian can become Tao companions. Listening to Yanji's words, Xiang Zhilan immediately spoke up. This is a good thing. What's wrong with it? Yanji spoke in a depressed tone. The Wu Nian Academy knows that their strength is not as good as the Blue Cloud Academy, so they also want to win over the Gui Yuan city, and want to take the initiative to betroth Nalan Wuxia to Gui Yuhai. The Blue Cloud Academy is afraid that the Gui Yuan city and the Wu Nian Academy would form an alliance, which would be detrimental to the advancement of the Blue Cloud Academy to a 9-star academy, so Xiang Zhilan understood. It should be that the Blue Cloud Academy, in order to win over the Gue Yuan city, also wanted to betroth Yanji to Gue Yuhai. If this kind of thing happened to her, she certainly would not have any resistance. Gue Yuhai being able to become a genius disciple, his qualifications were definitely heaven-defying. Presumably, his status in the Gue Yuan city was also not low. To be able to become Dao companions with such a person, it would not be a bad thing. But as for Yanji, in her heart she somewhat understood Yanji's thoughts. Yanji also knew the meaning of Xiangjilan's words. She once again sighed and said, "Originally I was cultivated by the Blue Cloud Academy. Moreover, this move of the Blue Cloud Academy is also for my own good, although they have not explicitly mentioned this matter. But this time after coming out of the law's way, they will definitely mention it. I know that Gue Yuhai likes women who are as gentle as water. I deliberately spoke and did not stick to trifles, but also wanted him to choose Nalan Rushua. But now Ning Qinghe, junior apprentice Sister Ji, I understand." Xiangjilan once again grabbed Yanji's hand and spoke. She knew what Yanji wanted to say, and also understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng was not dead yet. He had seen Yanji's body. Yanji still had a favorable impression of him. Moreover, he had continuously saved Yanji several times. In this case, for a woman like Yanji, to marry another man for Yanji, it was indeed somewhat unfair. In the Yixing mainland, although a man can marry 3 wives and 4 concubines, and can also have more than one Dao companion, but a woman must be faithful to one person, and scrupulously abide by the virtue of a woman. Ning Cheng had seen Yanji's body. In a sense, Yanji was already one of Ning Cheng's people. For her to protect Ning Cheng's body, it was also something that she ought to do. Seeing that her senior apprentice sister understood her meaning, Yanji gave a faint smile and spoke. "Moreover, Grey Toot Toot is still here with me. Senior apprentice sister, you have experienced 100 years of loneliness. Presumably you should know that kind of suffering. I was almost unable to endure it for 3 years. Now that I have made a choice, then I do not want him to experience that 100 years of loneliness, that kind of taste. If one does not experience it, then they will never understand how terrible it is." Saying that, she patted Grey Toot Toot who was in her bosom, and slowly turned around and once again walked towards one of the Blood River peaks. Xiangjilan looked at Yanji's somewhat lonely back, and suddenly felt that her throat was somewhat blocked. After fully understanding Yanji's meaning, she did not think that Yanji had done anything wrong. If she was replaced with her, then she would also have made the same choice. But from the time she started cultivating until now, besides finding a symbolic Dao companion, she had never really liked a person, nor had she ever loved a person. But she understood Yanji's mood. This kind of understanding was something that had been exchanged for 100 years of loneliness. Chapter 222. Ning Cheng wanted to find Feng Yushan, but Feng Yushan also wanted to find Ning Cheng. He was very depressed in his heart. He had never thought that the spiritual consciousness tag that he had placed on Xiangjilan's body would unexpectedly be found out. Ning Cheng continued to refine all kinds of talismans. The Dao charm that he sensed from the pale golden talismans started to circulate around his body. At the same time, he once again started to absorb the surrounding spiritual qi. At this moment, he started to condense the talismans and cultivate unconsciously. Ning Cheng knew that because of that pale golden talisman, he had completely fallen into a state of epiphany. He didn't know how long he had been meditating, but he was very clear about what he had gained from this enlightenment. After more than 2 months of preparation, Feng Yushan was once again ready to go out with the rest of the people to look for Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng actually came knocking on their door, Ning Cheng took back his fiery gaze and looked at the pile of talismans in front of him. He could not even believe that he had refined them. How much time would it take to refine so many talismans? Golden rays of light surrounded the talisman. An ancient Dao charm flowed over it. Ning Cheng felt as if he had entered a whole new world. He felt as if the world around him had completely disappeared, and only this talisman remained in his mind. It seems that Yanji and Xiangjilan had already gone out for a few months. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. An endless variety of talismans started to form in Ning Cheng's hands, from grade 1 to grade 2. With the lack of spiritual qi, Ningqing once again sprinkled out 1,000,000 spirit stones, before continuing to condense more talismans. It wasn't just the understanding of spells and cultivation, the understanding of the origin, but also the understanding of talismans. Because of this epiphany, he managed to cultivate to the profound congealing 7th level. And because of this epiphany, from a cultivator who could only refine some simple level 1 talismans, to a level 5 talisman grandmaster. Crack! A slight sound shattered this eternal image. At the same time, the Dao charm surrounding Ningqing also dissipated without a trace. Since he took the initiative to come out, you can all go back first. Feng Yushan spoke to the rest of the cultivators and with a flash, he immediately chased after Ningqing. This time he would never let Ningqing disappear from his sight. There were at least 10 to 20,000 talismans here. Ningqing, who was being pulled down, was not aware of it at all. He was just sitting in the same place, and using his spiritual consciousness to communicate with the huge talisman that he could only see with his eyes, through the spiritual chi fluctuations caused by the spiritual sacrifice a moment ago. Spirit mist, talisman refinement. He still had some confidence in his ability to place a spiritual consciousness tag. Even if Xiang Jilan knew that he had placed a spiritual consciousness tag, in order to find him, she would have to settle down and spend a long time. With such a long time, he could definitely catch up with the Ningqing trio. However, reality was always somewhat different from what he had imagined. In less than half a day, he had lost track of the 3 of them. The duration of this epiphany would definitely not be short. However, for Ningqing, the duration of this epiphany was still too short. This talisman was absolutely extraordinary. It actually contained a type of source energy. Could it be that this was the source of the talisman? Ningqing looked at the pale golden talisman in front of him with covetous eyes, and in his heart longed for this talisman to become his. The talisman condensed from spiritual chi quickly dissipated, but Ningqing once again condensed it. In the end, he directly abandoned using spiritual energy to condense, and began to use materials to condense talismans. Then a rank 1 wind edge talisman formed from pure spiritual chi was quickly condensed out by him. Wind edge talisman, fireball talisman, thunder and lightning talisman, congealing rain talisman, returning spring talisman. However, he soon became happy again. The strength of the profound congealing 7th level was several times stronger than the strength of the profound congealing 5th level. He could feel the true essence fluctuations throughout his body, giving out a gurgling sound. Even his core lake was much stronger and more solid than before. His cultivation was constantly improving, while the talismans were constantly piling up. It was not a day or two since he had obtained the mysterious yellow bead. As such, Ningqing was very clear that his thirst for the origin was greater than anything else. At this moment, when he discovered the aura of the origin, how could he let it go, as his spiritual consciousness immediately rushed towards it? He unknowingly broke through the intermediate stages of the profound congealing realm, and advanced to the profound congealing 7th level. But his actions of refining talismans also came to an end. He had only managed to refine a rank 5 talisman, and was interrupted by this advancement. Even in the depths of Ningqing's consciousness, he hoped that this kind of eternity would continue. He wanted to move forward without end, whether it was his cultivation or his level of talismans. Haha, you're quite self-aware. You know that if I go looking for you, you won't be able to escape. Since you know what's good for you, then I can leave you a complete. Feng Yushan's first thought on seeing Ningqing was that Ningqing would not be able to stay in Ningqing, but he immediately felt that something was wrong, as he did not see Yanji and Xiang Jilan. However, he was very clear that he absolutely couldn't obtain this talisman with his current ability. Not to mention that he couldn't even cross the Blood River. Even if he could cross the Blood River, he probably wouldn't be able to obtain such a big talisman. However, the talismans condensed from materials would not dissipate. Rank 1 offensive talismans, defensive talismans, rank 2 talismans. Feng Yushan, I don't believe that I can't beat you now. Ningqing raised his hand and blasted out an axe fist. The axe intent surged out like a real substance, causing the surroundings to buzz. The murderous aura overflowed in all directions, causing ripples to form in the tranquil river of blood. At best, Feng Yushan was only relying on a soul essence puppet. If he blasted out tens of thousands of talismans, then he did not believe that he would not be able to block a single soul essence puppet. He wanted the twin radiant heavenly clouds leaves. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, heaven, man, wind, thunder, lightning, time and space transformation, darkness and light. He did not know for how long, but the spiritual chi above the blood river suddenly became thin. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was suddenly interrupted and pushed back. He was no longer able to communicate with the pale golden talisman. Ning Cheng swept his eyes over the dozens of pale cultivators behind Feng Yushan, before his eyes once again fell on Feng Yushan's body. If you want this thing, then come with me. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with happiness, as he did not continue to forcibly communicate with this big talisman. He knew that he had already obtained a lot. This was an opportunity that belonged to him. At this moment, his hands were involuntarily making a variety of gestures. In the future, when my cultivation is high enough, I must come back and take away this talisman. Ning Cheng stared at the talisman, as he spoke with a fiery heart. He had only used his spiritual consciousness to sense the surface of this talisman, and was already able to obtain such a big opportunity. Once he obtained this talisman, then wouldn't it be even better? Ning Cheng was very sensitive to the origin aura. As such, he immediately perceived that it was a kind of origin aura. Moreover, it was completely different from the origin aura of the mysterious yellow bead, as well as the origin aura that he had felt at the bottom of the river in the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. He did not know if he was happy or annoyed. If there was someone beside him at this time, then they would be able to clearly see that Yanji and Xiang Jilan were sent out because of the power of the transmission, while Ning Cheng was pulled down because of an invisible force. When Ning Cheng felt his whole body become light, he thought that he had succeeded, as it was a sign that he had been sent out. But then his spiritual consciousness was able to communicate with a very strange aura. This kind of aura was originally isolated by the curved blood river. Because of the million high-grade spirit stones that he had thrown out, the rich spiritual chi generated by it was able to send this aura into his sea of consciousness. Feng Yushan did not even want to speak, as he raised his hand and waved out his soul essence puppet. He knew that Ning Cheng was very powerful. Without a puppet to pin down Ning Cheng, he was really afraid that Ning Cheng would escape again. Even if he had to escape, he would have to get rid of this Feng Yushan. Ning Cheng was not a good person. Initially he could not beat Feng Yushan, and was even chased by the opposite party. But now he was sure that he was not afraid of this Feng Yushan, so what was there to worry about? Feng Yushan immediately saw the entrapment array formation behind Ning Cheng. As he sneered in his heart, no wonder he had the courage to come looking for him. It turned out that he had arranged an entrapment array formation. Did he want to use this entrapment array formation to trap his soul essence puppet? Stop dreaming. A trace of Dao charm was engraved in Ning Cheng's mind, from vague to clear. The pale golden-colored talisman was covered with a halo of light, as if it contained the inexhaustible truth of the Grand Dao. Saying that, Ning Cheng did not speak any nonsense, and directly escaped. He believed that Feng Yushan would definitely catch up with him. If he was given a little more time, then maybe he would be able to advance to the Tier 6 Talisman Grandmaster. Unfortunately, his epiphany was interrupted by the advancement of his cultivation. If he wanted to become a Tier 6 Talisman Grandmaster, then he would have to rely on himself to slowly accumulate experience. Compared to the epiphany, this might be a long and boring process. Ning Cheng did not go far before he stopped. Cultivation really was based on opportunities. If there were no opportunities, then it would be nothing. He had obtained the opportunity from the huge talisman, allowing him to easily become a Tier 5 Talisman Grandmaster. For an ordinary person, this was simply unimaginable. He still had one last best quality spirit stone on him. After he killed Feng Yushan, it would not be too late to leave this place. In order to find the Ning Cheng trio, before he let everyone set off, he had also refined a batch of array flags. Letting everyone search for the places, he used the array flags to mark them, so that they would definitely be able to find the Ning Cheng trio, no matter where they were hiding. This seemed to be an eternal picture. It did not change at all. There was only eternal action. When Ning Cheng's cultivation reached the profound congealing 6th level, he was already able to condense level 3 talismans. After searching for more than a month, Feng Yushan once again returned to the place where he lived. He decided to let all the cultivators here to search together, with more than 30 people looking for the Ningqing trio. He did not believe that they would not be able to find them. This place was vast and boundless, but it was only a grand array. Hua! Ningqing once again scattered out 1,000,000 spirit stones. Ningqing's entire body trembled with excitement. He had seen all the things that he did not understand before in this talisman. These things were things that no one had ever taught him. Or rather, even if there was no one who could understand it so clearly. At this time, the Dao charm circulating around him was getting thinner and thinner, while Ningqing's cultivation was constantly improving under this Dao charm, causing the speed at which he was refining the talismans was also getting faster and faster. At this time, not only was the spiritual qi transformed from the spirit stones around Ningqing, even the spiritual qi from the blood river was also gathering together, as it swirled around Ningqing's body. After all, a puppet was a puppet, and not a person? It was certainly impossible for him to cast a wide range of magical techniques. As long as he used the dense talismans to pin down the puppet, he would be able to kill Feng Yushan alone. Ningqing deliberately placed the cosmic true devil axe on his back, while at the same time quickly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings, and went straight towards Feng Yushan's lair. Chapter 223. Feng Yushan was eager to get rid of Ningqing, but Ningqing and Feng Yushan had the same idea. He was also eager to get rid of Feng Yushan. At the same time that Feng Yushan's puppet came out, Ningqing immediately brought out his cosmic true devil axe, while simultaneously throwing out a dozen array flags. Although he had a lot of talismans, but he was afraid that the level was too low to contain Feng Yushan. As such, he simply arranged a rank 4 killing array. Ningqing could also arrange a rank 5 killing array, but the materials required for a rank 5 killing array were too precious. Even if it was Ningqing, he would not have enough precious materials to arrange an array. Feng Yushan had stayed here for many years, as such his level of array formations was not bad. Even when it came to arranging array formations, he was not any weaker than Ningqing. Therefore, he simply did not put Ningqing's array formations in his eyes. Ningqing was such a young cultivator. Even if his array formations were powerful, it would still be limited. When Ningqing turned the entrapment array into a rank 4 killing array, he only showed a hint of sarcasm at the corner of his mouth. A rank 4 killing array wanted to kill his rank 6 soul essence puppet. Just keep dreaming. While he brought out his yin-yang twin locks, he also threw out a dozen array flags. The yin-yang twin locks rolled up 2 distinct yin and yang murderous auras. These 2 murderous auras in just a twinkling of an eye transformed into 2 red and blue murderous dragons in the sky. The surrounding air was much more viscous than the first time. But Ningqing's cultivation was not something that his profound congealing 5th level cultivation could compare to. Compared to the 2 true essence balls formed by the 2 murderous dragons. These 2 murderous dragons brought with them a terrifying aura as they rushed towards Ningqing. At the same time, Ningqing's killing array also came to a halt because of the array flags thrown out by Feng Yushan. The soul essence puppet slapped down with its huge palm, and a corner of the killing array instantly turned to dust. Seeing these 2 murderous dragons with completely different murderous auras, Ningqing knew that when he and Feng Yushan had fought for the first time, he had not used his full strength. The cosmic true devil axe also rolled up a berserk murderous aura, bringing with it a trace of the demonic nature's devouring power, as it tore open a long and twisted axe trace, while the surroundings of this axe trace split open into many tiny axe lines. Ningqing's true essence and axe intent continued to surge, while at the same time he also threw out thousands of talismans. The distorted axe trace and the yin-yang twin dragons immediately clashed together, causing the violent distorted axe trace and the yin-yang slaughter aura to twist together. Boom 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 boom. The sound of true essence exploding completely blew apart the entire space. Because of this collision of killing intents, the originally calm and tranquil area became unstable. In just a single move, Feng Yushan's heart instantly sank. Ningqing's cultivation had once again grown a lot stronger compared to the time when they had fought. But this was far from the end. The sound of the explosion did not disappear because of the weakening of the axe line and the diminishing of the yin-yang slaughter aura. No, it didn't weaken. Instead, the sound of explosions grew louder and louder. All sorts of terrifying killing auras shot out in all directions, as if a gunpowder store had been lit. "You're crazy." Feng Yushan was swept away by this kind of berserk killing intent. He quickly understood what was going on. Ning Cheng had unexpectedly sprinkled out thousands of talismans at once. How much wealth does that take, madman? Under the endless explosions of talismans, the sixth-grade puppet continued to attack. Although these talismans could not harm the puppet for a while, the puppet could not rush out of the explosion of the talismans in a short time. Ning Cheng was secretly startled in his heart. He did not think that even with so many talismans, they would not be able to cause any damage to the sixth-grade puppet. Do not look at these exploding talismans. In fact, for this sixth-grade puppet, it was just like setting off firecrackers. Even if his talismans exploded, the puppet would still be a sixth-grade puppet. Almost without thinking about it, Ning Cheng once again threw out thousands of talismans, while the remaining nearly 10,000 talismans, all of them were thrown towards Feng Yushan. No one could use talismans like Ning Cheng. Even if other people had tens of thousands of talismans, they would not be able to activate them in an instant. But Ning Cheng could. These talismans were refined by him. When he was ready to kill Feng Yushan, he had already prepared himself. As such, all the talismans were already in a state of activation. Madman! Feng Yushan, on seeing Ning Cheng sprinkle out tens of thousands of talismans, was finally unable to contain the panic in his heart. Even if he had a puppet, and was also a profound core 9th level cultivator, he was not willing to resist the explosion of so many talismans. The two of them had only exchanged a single move, and he already wanted to escape. If he knew that Ning Cheng was going to use this method to deal with him, he would have definitely come up with a countermeasure, and not let the talismans bombard him like this. Rank 4 and below talismans would not cause much harm to him. At most it would only cause him minor injuries. But there were also countless rank 4 and even a few rank 5 talismans. How could he fight against them? Countless fireballs, wind blades, lightning bolts, and axe lights bombarded him. In just a few breaths, Feng Yushan was already covered in cuts and bruises. Let's go. Feng Yushan immediately thought of this, as he immediately withdrew his puppet and retreated. Feng Yushan's thoughts of leaving together with him, Ning Cheng was aware of it. Since he had lured Feng Yushan here, how could he let the other party escape? He had the twin heavenly cloud wings, and was able to stay out of the range of the explosion of the talismans. Seeing that Feng Yushan wanted to escape, he did not hesitate to bring out his cosmic true devil axe. Angry Axe's second form, Tornado. The explosive axe intent rolled up into an incomparably berserk tornado. At this moment, whether it was the killing intent of the angry axe, or the blade lights from the explosion of the talismans, or even the yin-yang slaughter aura from Feng Yushan's yin-yang dual locks, all of them were swept up by this incomparably berserk tornado axe intent, as it exploded towards Feng Yushan. The surroundings were completely sealed off by Ning Cheng's axe. Other than resisting this axe head-on, Feng Yushan simply had no other way out. Feng Yushan's combat experience was incomparably old. At this time, how could he not know that if he continued to escape, then he would only end up as a target? He did not even care about the trapped puppet, as he directly disappeared from sight. The terrifying explosion of the talismans continued, but Feng Yushan had already disappeared. Ning Cheng's berserk axe killing vortex unexpectedly could not find a target. Bang! The berserk angry axe killing intent had already formed a huge vortex. After not finding a target, it directly exploded into the middle of the sand. The huge gully that was formed by the explosion of the talismans and the true essence once again tore it apart even more. Ning Cheng saw that the rank 6 puppet was still subconsciously moving, but without Feng Yushan's command, it was obviously sluggish. Ning Cheng did not know where Feng Yushan had run off to, but he knew one thing, that was, even if he were to find Feng Yushan, he would have to deal with this puppet first. He did not have tens of thousands of talismans that he could consume at any time. This puppet was able to smash a corner of a rank 4 killing array into pieces with just a slap. It was absolutely not something that he could block. Throwing out dozens of array flags, Ning Cheng in the shortest possible time arranged an iron bucket-like entrapment array. Regardless of whether Feng Yushan managed to escape or not, he would not be careless. The actions of the rank 6 soul essence puppet finally came to a stop. Even if it was a powerful puppet, it was still just a puppet. Ning Cheng was constantly placing restrictions on the puppet. This puppet was something that he would have to put away first, and then slowly study it in his spare time. In just a short period of time, the puppet was still safe and sound from the explosion of the talismans, but Ning Cheng had already tied it up like a dumpling with restrictions, and threw it into his storage ring. Ning Cheng was slightly relieved. Even if Feng Yushan came back, without this puppet, he would not have to fear this person anymore. Just a moment ago there were no fluctuations in the surrounding space. Ning Cheng did not believe that Feng Yushan would have used something similar to the blood-escaping talisman to escape. After putting away the puppet, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness carefully searched the entrapment array. At this time the explosion of the talismans was coming to an end. All kinds of dust and sand, under the control of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, were not able to hide it all. A moment later, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on a ring that was hidden in the middle of the sand. He sneered in his heart. Hiding inside his own ring? The moment Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on the ring, Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness immediately transmitted over. Elder brother Cheng, we can talk things out. I and Xiang Jilan are also friends. Moreover, I have always helped her. Towards junior apprentice sister Yanji, I have always taken good care of her. I admit that I coveted your twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, for which I would like to apologize to you. In addition to giving you the rank 6 puppet, I also have other benefits for you. As long as you let me go once, we are all trapped in this place. What kind of grievances would there be that cannot be solved? Feng Yushan at this time was very regretful in his heart, because he had underestimated Ning Cheng. His rank 6 soul essence puppet could not even display a tenth of its strength. If he had known earlier, he would not have made his move in the beginning. If he had been supervising the puppet's battle with Ning Cheng, then perhaps Ning Cheng would have already been killed by him. Your ring can be used as a shelter. It's something new. I am lacking such a thing. My spiritual beast bag is not as good as your ring. For Grey Toot Toot to live in the spiritual beast bag is a bit aggrieved. Ning Cheng did not answer the question. As he spoke, at the same time he threw down an array flag, completely imprisoning the ring. Feng Yushan was not as strong as Ning Cheng. Now that he was imprisoned in an array formation by Ning Cheng, other than begging Ning Cheng to spare him, he had no other way. Even if he gnashed his teeth in hatred, there was nothing he could do. Elder brother Cheng, this is a somewhat broken miniature world. If elder brother Cheng wants it, I can certainly give it to you. Otherwise, even if I blow up the miniature world, you would not be able to obtain it. Feng Yushan knew that at this time he did not have any cards up his sleeves. He could only take advantage of Ning Cheng's greed, to see if he could escape from this calamity. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Feng Yushan quickly added, my miniature world is rich in spiritual qi. Moreover, there is also a variety of spiritual grass gardens. The reason why I can advance in this place is because of this miniature world. If not for the fact that I cannot cross the tribulation in this place, I would have already advanced to the soul essence realm. Ning Cheng knew that what Feng Yushan said might be true, because he had seen the heaven-opening talisman. The space in this place was incomparably firm, and was completely imprisoned by the heaven-opening talisman. When a cultivator advanced to the soul essence realm, they would need to cross the thunder tribulation. Since this space was sealed, then of course they would not be able to cross the tribulation. Is that so? Then why don't you come out first, and give me the miniature world? Ning Cheng was afraid that Feng Yushan would really blow up the miniature world, which was definitely not a good thing. Having such a good thing, for him, it was simply a good thing. Although he had entered the mysterious yellow bead once, but it was completely desolate inside. There was only a yellow misty color, not to mention that there was no life force or the ability to grow spiritual grasses. If you make a poison oath to let me go, then I will give you the miniature world. Feng Yushan fiercely spoke. He had already seen Ning Cheng's treachery and cunning a few times. Chapter 224. This father did not even have the time to make an oath when I was picking up girls in the past, but you are just a puny profound core cultivator. Do you think you are worthy enough to make me swear? As Ningcheng spoke, he had already started to continuously put up a variety of restrictions. These restrictions shackled the ring one after another, preventing Feng Yushan from exploding his small world. If Ningcheng really ended up trapped in this place, then he might not have any way to threaten Feng Yushan. No matter how good the miniature world was, it could only be used to preserve one's life, grow spiritual grasses, and let Grey Toot Toot live there. Although Ningcheng did not believe in oaths, but since he had decided to cultivate the Tao, he did not want to be affected by such an accident. In his heart, he couldn't wait to kill Feng Yushan. Letting Feng Yushan off like this was clearly not in line with his character. Although the miniature world was not bad, it would not be better than his mysterious yellow bead. Seeing Ningcheng take out the imprisonment ring without any hesitation, Feng Yushan felt both shocked and angry at the same time. He immediately understood that Ningcheng wanted his life, and did not want to compromise with him. After Feng Yushan understood this, despair rose in his heart. At the same time, his golden core swelled up. Since he wanted his life, then even if he had to self-destruct, he would not let Ningcheng obtain the miniature world. Terrifying and berserk true essence aura filled the entire ring. However, this aura was completely sealed by Ningcheng's various restrictions. At the same time, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness began to temper the original restrictions of the miniature world. The terrifying aura that erupted from Feng Yushan's golden core was quickly perceived by Ningcheng. He knew that Feng Yushan wanted to blow himself up. Not only was Feng Yushan going to detonate his golden core, but he was also going to detonate his small world. Otherwise, with Feng Yushan's current degree of freedom, he could completely self-destruct his golden core, and wouldn't need to wait for so long. Ningcheng didn't care about Feng Yushan's self-destruction. He knew that he couldn't do anything about it. What he wanted was to protect this small world. Ningcheng shot out one restriction after another, as Ningcheng used the craziest speed to seal the ring. At the same time, his spiritual consciousness began to repeatedly temper the restrictions placed on the outside of the miniature world. Boom! A terrifying explosion sound tore through Ningcheng's various restrictions and shackles, causing Ningcheng's sea of consciousness to tremble in pain. The corner of Ningcheng's mouth, because he had used all his strength to bind the miniature world, caused a trace of blood to flow out. This terrifying explosion sound transmitted from the ring to Ningcheng's sea of consciousness. Ningcheng knew that this was the sound of Feng Yushan exploding his golden core. Perhaps it was because the small world was too sturdy, or perhaps it was bound by countless restrictions, but it was still there. He just didn't know what the losses were inside. Ningcheng did not move. His spiritual consciousness continued to refine the ring, while simultaneously grinding away the restrictions on the outside of the ring. Not knowing for how long, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness finally felt lighter, as all the restrictions on the outside of the ring disappeared. He saw an incomparably desolate ravine. This place was like a small island, but the small island had become a mess. Not to mention spirit herbs, there wasn't even a blade of weed. Even the pair of yin-yang locks had turned into useless remains. Ningcheng gave out a sigh of relief. He knew that under his own shackles, this miniature world had become even more dilapidated because of Feng Yushan's self-detonation, but at least he managed to preserve it. In the future, as long as he managed it slowly, even if he couldn't recover to the state that Feng Yushan was in, it would be enough for him to use. Ningcheng did not leave. He continued to refine the ring. Unknowingly, another month passed by, and Ningcheng finally managed to completely refine this miniature world. He stood up and put the ring on his finger. Although he had killed Feng Yushan, but he did not obtain any cultivation resources, but he was able to obtain a broken miniature world. Ningcheng was already very satisfied. Now he could finally go out. Casting a few dirt removal techniques on himself, Ningcheng stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, and instantly disappeared from this place. There were still many cultivators trapped here, but Ningcheng did not know them. As such, he did not have the ability to rescue all of them. Using the best quality spirit stone to activate the spiritual chi, he could only take away 4 or 5 people at most. A very familiar voice made Ningcheng think that he had heard it wrong, but he knew that this was definitely the voice of Grey Toot Toot. Ningcheng was surprised in his heart. Didn't Grey Toot Toot leave with Yanji and Xiang Jilan? Why was it still here? Could it be that the transmission array could not be used? Immediately his spiritual consciousness saw Grey Toot Toot. He not only saw Grey Toot Toot, but also saw Yanji. Yanji's entire body was dirty, her hair was disheveled, and her hands were constantly making some gestures to arrange an array formation. What was different from his initial situation was that when he was deducing the array formation, Grey Toot Toot had been following behind him. But at this time Yanji was actually following behind Grey Toot Toot. Grey Toot Toot had a keen sense of smell. As such, it was obviously able to sense Ningcheng first, and immediately called out. Ningcheng waved his twin wings of the heavenly clouds, and immediately landed in front of Yanji. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, what's wrong with you? Yanji ignored Ningcheng, and was still constantly making gestures with her hands. Ningcheng knew that Yanji should have lost herself in the grand array, just like those cultivators that he had seen before. This was just the beginning. As long as another 10 years passed, he estimated that Yanji would be no different from those naked, skinny cultivators that he had seen before. Grey Toot Toot, on seeing Ningcheng, immediately rushed over with a ee sound. It was obvious that it was extremely excited. Looking at Grey Toot Toot's skinny appearance, Ningcheng took out a few pills and handed them to Grey Toot Toot. As he patted Grey Toot Toot's head and spoke, "First go inside the ring." Throwing everything that could be eaten into the miniature world ring, Ningcheng then sent Grey Toot Toot into the ring. Just as he was about to seal Yanji and take her away, he found that Yanji was circling around him and was no longer moving forward. Apparently, it was because Yanji was used to following Grey Toot Toot. Now that Grey Toot Toot had disappeared, she did not know what to do. Ningcheng directly sealed Yanji. He did not put Yanji into the miniature world ring, but rather helped Yanji clean up a bit, and then carried Yanji on his back. He did not know for what reason Yanji did not go out, or why she appeared in this place, or even lost herself. No matter what the reason was, it was definitely because of the grand array inside. As long as they left the grand array inside, Ningcheng believed that with Yanji's qualifications, as well as the fact that she had not been lost for a long time, she should be able to wake up. As for carrying Yanji on his back, Ningcheng knew that people who were lost were most afraid of loneliness. Loneliness would only make them sink deeper. Once again returning to the array heart, Ningcheng was just about to take out the spirit stones and throw them into the blood river spiritual sacrifice, when he suddenly saw the golden light and the Tao charm circulating around the huge talisman. As the skeleton unexpectedly slowly sat up, Ningcheng could also be considered as a profound congealing cultivator, but when he saw this situation, he also felt his scalp tingling. He was not afraid of ghosts and the like, but he did not know what kind of terrifying existence this skeleton was. Perhaps it could just casually slap him to death. He knew that after cultivating to the soul essence realm, one would be able to form an essence spirit. Since the skeleton was able to sit up, it was obvious that it had its own consciousness, and that there was still a remnant of its essence spirit. This junior mistakenly entered this place, and was just passing by, and disturbed senior. "I ask for your forgiveness." Ningcheng quickly gave a respectful bow and spoke. This kind of terrifying fellow, if he was not careful, then he would turn into ashes. For you to be able to find this place, it shows that you are not a simple person. I can feel the origin aura from your body. Is it possible that the mysterious yellow bead is on your body? After the skeleton sat up, it unexpectedly began to speak slowly to Ningcheng. Ningcheng's scalp was now tingling. Rather, his entire body was tingling. This was the first time that someone knew that he had the mysterious yellow bead on his body. Although Ningcheng had the mysterious yellow bead, he was also aware that he could not even display a billionth of the mysterious yellow bead's power. This kind of good thing, if it was known by others, then why would they not take it away? As if it knew what Ningcheng was thinking, this skeleton still spoke in an unhurried manner. The mysterious yellow bead is one of the 5 things in the universe that can form the good fortune heaven and earth. For you to be able to get the mysterious yellow bead to recognize you as its master is your lucky chance. I will not take it from you. I just want to make a small deal with you. Ningcheng did not believe the words spoken by the other party. He could only speak up. "Senior, as long as this junior can do it, I will definitely not refuse. Since it is a deal, then it must be something mutually beneficial. I did not think that in this kind of garbage place, there would unexpectedly be a good fortune treasure. It is really unexpected. The skeleton paused for a moment, as if it was trying to find the right words to say to Ningcheng. Ningcheng did not dare to speak, but there was a great disappointment in his heart. Obviously, this golden talisman called Heaven Opening already had an owner. As such, he would not be able to obtain it in the future. Your current cultivation is still low. As such, I do not intend to ask for your help right now. I just want you to help me find two things. The first is the heavenly cusp flower, and the second is the geocentric ninine essence. The heavenly cusp flower may have other names, but it does not matter. You only need to know that it is something that can reshape your corporeal body. Although this thing is rubbish, but it is better than nothing. In this place, you can only find this kind of low-level stuff. The skeleton spoke to the end with a sigh. It was obvious that it was very helpless. This junior will definitely try his best to find it, but after this junior finds it, how would I be able to give it to senior? Ningcheng had already restored his calm. He knew that he could not let the skeleton in front of him have even half a shred of doubt towards him. Originally, when he went out, he wanted to come back in again, but since this huge talisman belonged to such a terrifying fellow, then he did not want it. So after he went out, he did not intend to come back in again. I know that you are a little afraid of me, so after you go out, you do not want to come back in again. The skeleton seemed to know what Ningcheng was thinking in his heart, as it inexplicably spoke out again. Ningcheng stared at the skeleton in front of him with a dumbfounded look, as his heart shuddered. Just what kind of monster was this? How could it pry into his thoughts? You do not have to be afraid, or even worry about it. I am not a threat to you. You are not my opponent. Even if you have the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, you are still not my opponent. In order to not let you go through all this trouble in vain, I can satisfy any of your requests. The skeleton was just like a big bad wolf, as it spoke in an incomparably pleasant tone. Ningcheng's heart jumped. He was trying his best to go back and see his little sister. Could it be that this fellow could help him return to Earth? Chapter 225. Seeing that Ningcheng did not speak for a long time, the skeleton once again spoke. Since you can obtain the recognition of a good fortune treasure, then presumably you are also a reincarnated character. I can give you a piece of free information. Any good fortune treasure can form its own world. Moreover, it is a world that surpasses ordinary primal chaos worlds. However, for any good fortune treasure to truly form such a world, it must have certain prerequisites. The good fortune golden page is a treasure of the 5 elements. You need to gather the 5 elements to form a world. The good fortune jade disc is a treasure of the heavenly Tao yin and yang. You need to gather the primal chaos yin and yang to form a world. But your good fortune mysterious yellow bead is an origin treasure. You need to gather the most basic 5 kinds of origins. Only then can you form an independent world and derive the rest of the origins. Otherwise, anything thrown into the mysterious yellow bead would only be refined by the mysterious yellow bead, disappearing without a trace, without leaving even half a trace. Senior, there is also the good fortune indestructible axe and the good fortune azure lotus. Seeing that the skeleton had only mentioned 3 of them, Ningcheng could not help but add a sentence. The skeleton spoke in a light voice. You know a lot, but it is useless to say it, because it has nothing to do with you. Now what do you want? Are you willing to trade with me? What Ningcheng wanted the most in his heart was to return to Earth, to see his little sister. If possible, he also wanted to bring his little sister here. Although the strong were respected here, but as long as one cultivated, one's lifespan would be extremely long. What could be more desirable than immortality? This junior indeed comes from another plane. That place is called Earth. It is an ordinary mortal planet, but because this junior has a little sister there, this junior's biggest wish is to return to that place. To see my little sister, it would be best to bring my little sister here. Ningcheng knew that this skeleton was like a monster. As such, he spoke a lot honestly. The skeleton was silent for a while before it spoke. If you are sure that it is a plane, and not an interface, then I have no way to help you. If my strength is restored, then I can use the heaven opening talisman to help you once. But my strength is still far from being restored. Ningqing quickly spoke up. Then after I help Senior find the heavenly cusp flower and the geocentric Ninine essence, would Senior have the strength? I can give it a try, but I am not sure if I can let you come back here. I'm very tired and I'm going to rest. In the future, when you find something, you can use this talisman to enter this place. The skeleton's tone became even slower. After he finished speaking, a talisman fell down from the talisman and slowly floated towards Ningcheng's side. Ningcheng carefully held the talisman in his hand and made sure that there was no problem with the talisman. Only then did he put the talisman into a jade box. Originally, Ningcheng also wanted to ask about the most powerful people in this world, and even what kind of places existed outside of the Yixing mainland. However, the skeleton had already slowly fallen to the ground, without the slightest sound. Only the golden talisman was still flowing with Taoist rhyme, floating above the skeleton. So powerful. Ningcheng calmed himself down before throwing the 1,000,000 spirit stones into the blood river. He then threw in his last best quality spirit stone. As he continued to throw out array flags, a spiritual mist vortex once again formed around him. This time, Ningcheng did not dare to sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. Instead, he immediately disappeared along with the spiritual chi maelstrom. When Ningcheng landed on the ground, he had already appeared at the foot of the blood river peak. I'm finally out. Ningcheng breathed a sigh of relief. The transmission array was indeed effective, but in his heart he could not understand how Yanji could fall into the bottom of the blood river once again. Did Yanji want to collect the blood river red lotus and ended up falling in for the second time? Even if she fell in, wouldn't she have tried to deduce the array formation? Did she not know that she would get lost like this? Ningcheng shook his head and put these thoughts aside. He did not immediately leave, but continued to collect the blood river red lotus. With the experience of falling into the blood river, Ningcheng believed that with his current cultivation and vigilance, he would absolutely not fall in for the second time. 3 days later, Ningcheng took dozens of blood river red lotus and left the blood river mountains. The next time he wanted to come here, he would have to find the heavenly cusp flower first. Otherwise, even if he came here, it would be meaningless. There was no one outside the blood river mountains. Even if there were no traces of cultivators in the surroundings, it was obvious that these cultivators had already entered the depths of the second segment of the Law's Way. In order to avoid letting everyone know that he was Ningcheng, Ningcheng once again changed his appearance to his original appearance. After all, the title of Devil Cultivator was not a good one. At least for now it would only bring him more harm than good. Looking at Yanji who was being carried on his back, Ningcheng felt somewhat helpless. He did not know when Yanji would wake up, but before Yanji sobered up, he could only bring the other party through the Law's Way. He put Yanji down, while simultaneously unlocking the restrictions on Yanji's body, and then said to Yanji, "Wherever I go, you will follow me, do not run around, do you understand?" Contrary to Ningcheng's expectations, Yanji unexpectedly nodded. Apparently she understood the meaning of Ningcheng's words. Ningcheng was overjoyed in his heart. Yanji's performance showed that she was a little bit clear-headed. As long as he continued, maybe in a few days she would be able to fully wake up. Ningcheng began to search for some spiritual grasses in the Law's Way, and occasionally went into seclusion to refine pills and talismans. Regarding seclusion cultivation, Ningcheng had never thought about it, although he still had nearly 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones on him. But Ningcheng was sure that these spirit stones would not be of any help to his cultivation. Before, if he had not encountered the heaven-opening talisman, then he simply would not have been able to advance to the profound congealing 7th level. After advancing to the profound congealing 7th level, his core lake had become even thicker, and even more massive. But relatively speaking, the true essence in his core lake was dwarfed, and even less than half of it was left. Ningcheng was just a rogue cultivator, although he had the mysterious yellow bead, but he did not have a master to guide him. In his view, to advance to the profound core realm, he must first fill up his core lake. Just like when he advanced from the essence-building realm to the profound congealing realm, only when his true essence had filled up his meridians and dantian would he be able to form the embryonic form of his core lake. But according to his current progress, Even if he cultivated to the profound congealing ninth level, he would not be able to advance to the profound core realm. Ningcheng was sure that even if he cultivated to the profound congealing ninth level, his core lake would still be far from being filled up. Moreover, with the rise of his cultivation, his core lake was also becoming more and more solid and wider, which made it even more difficult for him to fill up his core lake. If it was just for the sake of advancing, then what was the use of it? Ningcheng decided to wholeheartedly search for cultivation resources, and once the cultivation resources were enough to fill up his core lake, then he would once again attack the profound core realm. With Ningcheng's cultivation, he also had enough experience in the second segment of the Law's Way. In just a few months, he had already collected a lot of spiritual grasses and good spiritual fruits. Although he had encountered several dangers, he was able to escape by relying on the twin heavenly cloud wings. Not only that, but he was also getting more and more proficient in using the twin heavenly cloud wings. After going through several dangerous situations, he was able to use the twin heavenly cloud wings to cast another kind of teleportation. This kind of teleportation was not a magical technique, but rather one that stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings in the shortest possible time, allowing one to instantly disappear from that place. Although Yanji was still in a disorientated state, but compared to when she had just come out from the bottom of the blood river, she was much better. Perhaps it was the nature of female cultivators. At least she would occasionally use a dirt removal spell and a spirit cleansing spell on herself. What made Ningcheng feel a bit relieved was that after leaving the bottom of the blood river, without the shackles of the Grand Array, Yanji also no longer tried to deduce the array formation. However, she did not speak, nor did she cultivate, nor did she look for spiritual herbs. Ningcheng was afraid that it would be detrimental to her recovery. As such, he deliberately called out Grey Toot Toot and let her hold it. The miniature world inside the ring was badly damaged, so after Ningcheng refined the broken miniature world, he began to tidy up the inside. Many spirit herbs were transplanted into the small world by him. In order to make the miniature world more beautiful as soon as possible, Ningcheng even moved the rank 1 spiritual grasses, even some of the flowers and grasses that did not belong to the category of spiritual grasses. The originally incomparably desolate miniature world, because of Ningcheng's efforts, gradually became verdant and full of vitality. A year's time passed by in a flash. Ningcheng's cultivation did not increase even a bit. Yanji's cultivation also did not increase even a bit. Yanji and Ningcheng had already formed a tacit understanding. When Ningcheng was collecting the spiritual grasses, she and Grey Toot Toot would wait in a safe place, and then take the initiative to throw out a few defensive array discs that Ningcheng had refined. When Ningcheng left, she would then take back the array discs and follow Ningcheng. There was no need for Ningcheng to call out to her. Ningcheng found that the further he went, the lesser the spiritual grasses were. Moreover, the suppression on his spiritual consciousness was also getting weaker and weaker. He guessed that the second segment of the Law's Way would soon come to an end. On this day, his spiritual consciousness swept out to a very simple makeshift market. Ningcheng was puzzled in his heart. Did he really come out of the Law's Way so easily? Seeing the makeshift market, and seeing even more cultivators, Ningcheng sped up his pace. He wanted to ask the other cultivators. Senior Apprentice Sister Ji. A pleasantly surprised voice called out. Immediately this voice discovered Ningcheng, and immediately spoke. Are you Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng? So it was you, Jitingting. Ningcheng recognized this female cultivator in front of him. When he had just entered the Law's Way, Jitingting was also in the same team as him. What happened to Senior Apprentice Sister Ji? Jitingting's attention completely fell on Yanji's body. It was obvious that her concern for Yanji far exceeded that of Ningcheng. After a few years, at this time she was already a profound congealing third-level cultivator. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji has a little trouble, but it should not be a big problem. You can take me to the people from the Blue Cloud Academy. I will tell them about the situation. Right, what is going on here? How did it form a simple makeshift market? Ningcheng and Yanji had been together for such a long time. He could feel that Yanji was slowly getting better. Although this process was very slow, but eventually she would definitely recover. Jitingting looked at Yanji with a puzzled expression, but did not answer Ningcheng's words, and just quickly spoke. I will go and find senior apprentice brother Xiang and senior apprentice brother Yan Xing. Looking at Ji Tingting, who was already far away, Ning Cheng frowned, as he pulled another intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator and asked, "Friend, why is there a makeshift market here? Is there someone blocking the way?" This cultivator was just about to flare up, but then he felt that Ning Cheng's cultivation was higher than his, and quickly spoke. "This is the real entrance to the Law's Way. In front of us is the place to enter the Law's Way. Once you pass through the Law's Way and enter the third segment, there is an 80% chance that you will be able to come out. Once you do not pass through the Law's Way, you can only wait here and look for opportunities. All the people here are unable to pass through the Law's Way." This cultivator had not even finished his words when Ning Cheng heard a burst of angry shouts. "Kill that devil cultivator!" Chapter 226. Ning Cheng spoke up in a light voice. "I do not understand the devil Tao, and I am also not a devil cultivator. People with different paths cannot make plans together. Elder brother C, please leave." Xiang sneered and spoke. "What happened to junior apprentice sister Ji? Would she lose herself? Why don't you tell us? Surname Chung, I have long heard of you. You are obviously a profound core expert, but pretends to be a cultivator with a poor cultivation, in order to win sympathy, and then fish for benefits." Whether it is true or false, Zhang Sunyan and Nalan Wuxia are both aware of it. I think they should be here too. Just call them out for a confrontation. Ning Cheng, on seeing more and more cultivators arriving, as well as more and more profound core 9th level cultivators arriving, he knew that today's matter would not be easy to resolve. Ning Cheng could clearly see that when Xiang had said that he was a devil cultivator, the corners of those profound core cultivators' mouths only showed a hint of sneer. But when they heard that he had 10 million spirit stones on him, these cultivators' eyes were filled with fanaticism. I also came to know about it. Initially, when we entered the second segment of the Law's Way, this person had plundered the wealth of dozens of profound core cultivators. Now, it seemed like this person's schemes ran deep, long premeditated. Not only did he plunder everyone's things, he even wanted others to be grateful to him. Today, let's tear off his disguise and take a look. Another profound core cultivator came forward and spoke in a cold voice. Ning Cheng also knew this woman. Her name was Hua Miaojing, and she was originally in the same team as him. For these cultivators to be here, it was clear that they were much stronger than those cultivators who had been guarding the entrance of the second section. Although he had a rank 6 puppet, but as long as the other side sent a few profound core 9th level cultivators to pin down the puppet, the rest of the people could easily kill him. This is what I'm thinking. Let's work together and rush out of this formation in the shortest time possible, and enter the entrance of the third section. I've already figured out what's going on with this formation. If I were to break it alone, I wouldn't have enough time. When the time comes, I'll give you the array flag, and we can quickly break the array together. Ning Cheng understood in his heart that this was the same as entering the second segment. The only difference was that the cultivators in the second section were too ruthless. However, this place was different. They would only accept spirit stones and would not go to extremes. In any case, all the cultivators who wanted to enter the third stage would have to pay spirit stones. Otherwise, he could only stay here and cultivate day and night. The cosmic true devil axe chopped out, causing countless tiny axe lines to burst out just like a clap of thunder. The surrounding space immediately turned chaotic, as several profound congealing cultivators who wanted to rush into Ning City were directly split apart by this axe line. At this moment, Ning Cheng had already stimulated his twin heavenly cloud wings, and soon disappeared from this place. The entrance to the third segment was also known as the true entrance to the Law's Way. There was a makeshift market here, because for countless years, the cultivators who could not pass through the third segment would end up trapped here. Of course, the laws of heaven and earth here were complete, so one could cultivate in seclusion here. Some cultivators can still break into the third stage after being trapped for decades. Just as this female cultivator's voice fell, Ning Cheng immediately saw Xiang, who was also the one who had just said that he had killed the devil cultivator. This fellow was the first to say that he would kill the devil cultivator, but he was the last to leave. You know that they have already passed through the second segment of the law's way. And only then would you say that, right? After Xiang finished speaking in a disdainful manner, he cupped his fists towards the dozens of profound core cultivators surrounding him and spoke. Fellow senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters, this person is insidious and cunning. He kills people like flies. Moreover, he is also a devil cultivator. Moreover, he had also collected a huge amount of spirit stones. I estimate that it would be at least 10 million. Who is it? Ningcheng was just thinking of making a temporary immortal cave, when a spiritual consciousness fluctuated around him. In just a moment, Ningcheng was already aware of it. I am Si Bing, a rogue cultivator. Before this friend escaped from the entrance to the third segment of the law's way. Your strength is incomparably strong. This Si Bing really admires you. This cultivator cupped his fists towards Ningcheng, as he spoke in a calm tone. This friend really is vigilant. An unhurried voice arrived, and then a young cultivator wearing a gray cultivator robe appeared in the range of Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness, and soon this cultivator arrived in front of Ningcheng. This was a profound core 7th level cultivator, with a medium stature, and a trace of sinister aura emanating from his body. Moreover, there was also a kind of faint killing intent fluctuation coming from him. Ningcheng could immediately feel that this person was not an ordinary person. Si Bing continued. From the second segment to the third segment, there is a real comprehension of the laws. If you want to enter the third segment, then you must pass through this comprehension of the laws. Many of the cultivators who cannot comprehend the laws can only get stuck here. Over time, more and more cultivators gathered here, forming a simple makeshift market. Some of the strong people, in order to obtain cultivation resources, arrange an array formation before entering the third segment. All the cultivators who want to pass through this array formation and enter the third segment must pay a certain amount of spirit stones. As this profound core cultivator spoke, most of the cultivators present brought out their magical weapons, as they slowly spread out, wanting to surround Ningcheng. Ningcheng's eyes turned cold, as he stared at Si Bing and spoke. It looks like you know a lot, since you know that I have the twin heavenly cloud wings. Are you not afraid that I will kill you? Or perhaps you want to rob me of my twin heavenly cloud wings? Si Bing gave a faint smile. Of course there is no problem. In fact, this is the real entrance to the law's way. This entrance not only tests one's cultivation, but also tests one's perception and aptitude. It is not that the higher one's cultivation, the more one would be able to pass through. Sometimes even if you only have the cultivation of essence building realm, but your perception is first class, you can still pass through this section. The real good things inside the law's way are all in the third segment. For example, the spiritual enhancement true nectar that everyone wants to obtain. Looking at the surroundings, Ningcheng intended to wait here for a few days, and then secretly rush through. Since not everyone can pass through the third segment, then as long as he rushed through the entrance of the third segment, it would be more or less enough. It was not that Ningcheng looked down on devil cultivators, but he himself was also regarded as a devil cultivator. He wanted to rush through the third segment of the law's way alone, and did not want to mix with this Si Bing. Si Bing once again spoke with a smile. Elder brother Ning looks down on this Si Bing too much. Since I am the one who proposed the cooperation, I will not do such a dirty thing. Of course, I do not care about elder brother Ning silencing me. I believe that elder brother Ning is also aware, if I was so easy to be silenced, then I would not have stayed here for so many years. Ningcheng saw the dozens of profound core cultivators surrounding him. He immediately made up his mind, and decided to leave first. The few cultivators who discovered that Ningcheng possessed the twin heavenly cloud wings were trembling with excitement. This kind of secret was something that they absolutely could not divulge. As long as they could kill this cultivator, who possessed the twin heavenly cloud wings alone, then the twin heavenly cloud wings would belong to them. Ningcheng had seen this person before, although he did not know the name of the cultivator who spoke, but he knew that this person was also saved by him. Si Bing did not know that Ningcheng was an array formation master that was more powerful than him. As such, he just wanted Ningcheng to cooperate with him. Ningcheng immediately became vigilant in his heart. This Si Bing was somewhat strange, not to mention that he was not aware of the other party a moment ago. Even when he was leaving the makeshift market, he also did not discover this Si Bing. Moreover, this person had a trace of strange true essence flowing through his body, which made Ningqing somewhat familiar with it. Ningqing did not go far. He still had to pass through the second segment of the Law's Way. As such, going too far was definitely not good. Surname Chung, senior apprentice Sister Ji, in order to help you, brought you to join the team. Are you still a human? You even caused senior apprentice Sister Ji to lose her mind. Another angry woman called out. Si Bing laughed and spoke. Elder brother Chung may not know the degree of hatred that the cultivators of the 9 continents have for the devil path. Whether you are a devil cultivator or not is not something that you can decide for yourself. But the reason why I came here is not to discuss this matter with Elder brother Chung. I want to cooperate with Elder brother Chung and break through the third segment of the Law's Way together. Elder brother Cheng's twin heavenly cloud wings are very good. If we cooperate with each other, then breaking through the third segment would not be impossible. Ningqing did not take Yanji away with him. Yanji had many of her fellow apprentice brothers and sisters. As such, he did not need to worry about her. When Yanji completely sobered up, she naturally knew what was going on. He did not have the time to take away Grey Toot Toot. In any case, with Yanji's qualifications, she could absolutely enter the third segment of the Law's Way. Later on, he would go and ask Yanji. Ningqing was very calm in his heart. This kind of thing was something he had seen many times before. As such, there was no need to get angry. If he was strong enough, then he would not hesitate to kill all those people who besieged him. In this place, you can have kindness, but there was no need to use benevolence to win people over. This was not a place to win people over by virtue. Ningqing cupped his fists and spoke. Everyone misunderstood me. Junior apprentice sister Yanji had encountered a little problem. I saved her and brought her here. What kind of magical technique was that? A profound core 9th level cultivator looked at the place where Ningqing disappeared and spoke out in surprise. Ningqing had used the true cosmic devil axe to create chaos in his true essence, and then wielded the twin heavenly cloud wings, but only a few cultivators were able to discover it. Most of the people were not even aware of it. Such scum, why bother keeping him? Let's go together. A profound core 9th level cultivator shouted out, as he brought out a magical weapon and locked onto Ningqing. If he had not heard that Ningqing had killed dozens of profound core cultivators by himself, he would have directly come forward. Ningqing had just arrived here. As such, he did not understand anything about the third segment of the Law's Way. When he heard Si Bing's words, he was moved in his heart, as he cupped his fists and asked, "Can Elder Brother Si tell me about the situation in this third segment?" He was sure that these people wanted to attack him, not because he was a devil cultivator, but because of the things on his body. Fortunately, he had the twin heavenly cloud wings. As such, unless a genuine soul essence cultivator came, otherwise they would not be able to kill him. I am called Chung Xiaoning. Is Elder Brother Si a person from the devil path? Ningqing also cupped his fists, as he calmly asked. If Nalan Rushua and Zhang Sunyin were here, then they should have already come out. Ningqing himself was not able to explain that he was able to come out from the bottom of the Blood River. Moreover, he did not want this matter to be exposed. Ningqing's heart sank. There were more than 100 profound core cultivators here. Moreover, there were more than 20 of them at profound core 9th level. Even if these profound core 9th level cultivators surrounded him, he would not be able to escape. How does Elder Brother Si want to cooperate? Please speak. Ningqing, on hearing this, was already somewhat moved in his heart. He did not understand anything about this place, but looking at this Si Bing, it was obvious that he had a very good understanding of this place. In this kind of combat situation, his poor rank 6 puppet was not even as powerful as the broken core pearl. Si Bing gave a faint smile and spoke. That's right. I am a genuine person from the devil path, and am not one of those people who do all sorts of bad things, and then claim to be a devil cultivator. Elder Brother Chung should also be, because you belong to the devil path. As such, you ended up being besieged by those pretentious righteous cultivators, right? Chapter 227. Ningqing understood Si Bing's idea. Si Bing's array formation level was limited, so he wanted to find someone who could cooperate with him. and then use the fastest speed to break through this blocking array formation. The cultivation of the person working with him did not necessarily have to be high, but the person must be fast. Moreover, he had the twin heavenly cloud wings which made his speed incomparably powerful, so he was obviously the best candidate for him. Okay. Ningqing immediately agreed. Good. Si Bing took out more than a dozen array flags, and then handed over an array chart to Ningqing and spoke. Take a look at these array flags and array charts. You will be responsible for placing the array flags for the Qian Palace, the Qin Palace, the Zhen Palace and the Zhen Palace. I will be responsible for the rest. As soon as Ningqing heard it, he knew that Si Bing did not care about his array formation skills, and was just using his speed to let him drop the array flags. However, according to Si Bing's statement, he was indeed taking advantage of the situation. As long as he dropped a few array flags, he would not have to be responsible for anything else. Moreover, from the placement of the array flag and the array diagram, Si Bing did not seem to be secretly plotting against him. When do we start? Ningqing asked as he put away the array flags and the array diagram. Let's do it tonight. I can't wait any longer. If you don't show up, I will make my move in a few days, said Si Bing with a smile. Saying that, he also added a sentence. Elder brother Cheng, although I am a murderous person, but I will not secretly harm others. Tonight, according to my method, we can definitely enter the entrance of the third segment of the Law's Way. But if Brother Ning is unable to break through, and is pushed out by the power of the restrictions of the Law's Way, and falls into the hands of others, then don't say that I did anything to you. Ningqing spoke up in a cold voice. Elder brother Si does not need to worry about this. Being pushed out is because my cultivation is not good enough. It has nothing to do with elder brother Si. Although this Si Bing looked like an open and above-board person, but Ningqing did not believe him. Si Bing saw that Ningqing did not intend to speak much with him, and also no longer spoke any nonsense, as he found a place not far away and closed his eyes to rest. Inside the Law's Way, there was also a division of day and night. As such, it was indeed better to act during the night than during the day. Gray toot toot. Although Ningqing was not afraid of Si Bing, but his spiritual consciousness was always in a state of caution. He did not notice any unusual movements from Si Bing, but he once again saw Gray Toot Toot. Not only did he see Gray Toot Toot, but he also saw Yanji. Yanji followed behind Gray Toot Toot, and seemed to be very anxious. Gray Toot Toot's sense of smell was obviously unparalleled, as it directly ran towards Ningqing. Under the dim yellow light, when Yanji saw Ningqing, her anxious mood suddenly disappeared without a trace. Ningqing immediately knew that Yanji and Gray Toot Toot had sneaked out. It should be that Yanji was looking for him, and then Gray Toot Toot led the way. Perhaps it was because Gray Toot Toot was looking for him, and Yanji was following behind him. Haha, elder brother Qing really is an expert. Such a stunning woman is unexpectedly unable to leave you for even a quarter of an hour. Si Bing's voice arrived. His tone was a bit strange. Ningqing ignored him. He could feel that Yanji was somewhat dependent on him. This made him feel somewhat helpless. Yanji was a core disciple of an 8-star academy. Once he ended up being hunted down by an 8-star academy, it would definitely not be a joke. Elder brother Cheng, what I mean is that we should go now. What do you think? Si Bing quickly changed the topic back to business. All right. Ningqing nodded in agreement without any hesitation, and simultaneously put Gray Toot Toot into the spiritual beast bag, while carrying Yanji on his back. Si Bing's entire body exuded a strange feeling. Ningqing was not willing to let him know that he had a miniature world. Did senior apprentice Sister Ji leave? Ji Tingting suddenly sobered up. She actually did not know when Yanji had left. She was just about to rush out and inform the few profound core senior apprentice brothers of the Blue Cloud Academy about this matter, when she heard the sound of a true essence explosion. 2 devil cultivators are teaming up to break through the array formation. Everyone together, ah. The shout let Ji Tingting know that Cheng Xiaoning unexpectedly wanted to break through the third segment of the Law's Way at night. Si Bing's complexion was very ugly to look at. He did not think that before he could even reach the array formation, he would be stopped by someone. Elder brother Si, it looks like your foolproof plan is not very good, ah. Ningqing was not anxious in his heart. He looked at Si Bing's desperate appearance, and knew that Si Bing had not thought of this point. Si Bing clenched his teeth and spoke. I am sure that there is no problem with my method. It is absolutely impossible for there to be so many cultivators coming out at night. I have been observing for more than half a year. When Ningcheng heard these words, he was moved in his heart, but soon his complexion turned as ugly as Si Bing's. He already understood what was going on. It should be that someone had approached Yanji and placed a spiritual consciousness tag on her body. From this, it could be seen that Yanji coming out at night to look for him was completely premeditated. As long as he brought Yanji over, it would definitely be detected by someone. These two devil cubs unexpectedly teamed up, everyone together, as long as the cultivators who participated in the extermination of these devil cubs, they would all be able to obtain some benefits. A profound core 9th level cultivator gave a loud laugh, as the sword-shaped magical weapon in his hands immediately shot out. A series of phantoms broke through the air, giving off a pung-pung sound. The true essence stimulated by the sword chi was just like an inexhaustible amount of blades, as it locked onto Ningcheng. Ningcheng's true cosmic devil axe also rolled up a burst of devil chi, as it tore apart these blades of sword chi from the inside out. Pung-pung-pung-pung-pung. The sound of the sword chi exploding out from the sword chi turned the entire place into a complete mess, as the profound core 9th level cultivator's sword light was struck by Ningcheng's axe intent whirlpool, causing him to immediately give out a stuffy grunt, as he was forced to retreat a few dozen meters away. So strong, this profound core 9th level cultivator originally had some doubts about Ningcheng killing dozens of profound core cultivators, but at this moment he no longer had even the slightest bit of doubt, as he shouted out in a loud voice. Everyone, if you do not attack together, then you will let him escape. In fact, he did not even need to shout out, as dozens of profound core and profound congealing cultivators had already brought out their magical weapons to attack Ningcheng. Not only that, even Yanji, who was behind Ningcheng, was also facing the bombardment of countless magical weapons. As such, no one cared whether Yanji was dead or alive. Poof! A blood arrow shot out, directly splashing onto Ningcheng's neck. Ningcheng immediately knew that Yanji had been hit by the blade lights and was injured. A bunch of shameless things. Ningcheng flew into a rage, as he no longer had the thought of rushing past them. The true cosmic devil axe swept out, as he blasted out a tearing axe intent killing trace, causing countless cracks in the axe light to fill up the entire space in just a twinkling of an eye. Dozens of profound congealing cultivators, under this kind of berserk axe line killing intent, did not even have the ability to resist, as they were directly killed. Some of the profound core 1st level and 2nd level cultivators were also seriously injured, some were even killed by Ningcheng. Ningcheng's killing intent surged up, as the angry axe's killing trace formed by the true devil axe grew more and more numerous, causing the berserk demonic aura, in just a twinkling of an eye, to sweep across the entire world. Si Bing, who was not far away from him, was scared witless. He was sure that Ningcheng was a devil cultivator. Not only was he a devil cultivator, but his cultivation was even more powerful than his own. Fortunately, he did not have any ideas about the other party. Otherwise, even if he, Si Bing, could survive, he would have to find a place to heal his injuries. But now that Ningcheng was cooperating with him, as such, when Ningcheng showed his might, he immediately felt relaxed, as the twin symbols in his hands also brought out a black mist. Several early-stage profound core cultivators were directly chopped in half at the waist. Ningcheng was gradually affected by the true cosmic devil axe's tyrannical axe intent, as the angry axe killing intent blasted out even more. He completely did not care about whether his true essence was about to dry up or not. Poof! A blood-red arrow shadow tore through Ningcheng's tyrannical angry axe line, as it directly shot towards Ningcheng's chest. The stinging pain caused Ningcheng to sober up in a flash, as he subconsciously shivered. Only then did he discover that his body was riddled with scars. Although he had killed a lot of cultivators, but the injuries he received were also not light. If it went on like this, then even if he did not turn into a devil, he would definitely die from exhaustion. Although he had killed a lot of cultivators, but most of them were profound congealing cultivators or early-stage profound core cultivators. As for the real experts, he simply did not manage to kill many of them. He has already turned into a devil. As long as we seal him up, then let him die from exhaustion. That would be enough. Xi Eng's arm had already disappeared. At this time he was fiercely glaring at Ning Cheng. His eyes were filled with flames of anger. Hurry up and go. Ning Cheng thought until here. Without saying anything further, the true cosmic devil axe once again swept out with innumerable crisscrossing axe traces. The dense axe traces filled with killing intent forced the cultivators in front of him to retreat, as he vigorously stimulated his twin heavenly cloud wings, and instantly rushed into the grand array in front of him. Si Bing, on seeing Ning Cheng rush into the grand array, twisted his body a few times, and silently entered the grand array. He had a part of the array flags on Ning Cheng's body. If Ning Cheng could not enter the grand array, then it would not make any sense for him to go in alone. Elder brother Cheng, hurry up and break the array. Si Bing's voice had just fallen, when the grand array instantly changed. From a defensive entrapment array, it turned into a killing array. Endless killing lights shot out from the grand array. Si Bing quickly brought out his own defensive magical weapon, wanting to block these endless killing lights. But Ning Cheng simply ignored Si Bing. With a wave of his hands, countless array flags were thrown out by him. In just a short time, the endless killing lights coming from the grand array weakened, and then the dim grand array also started to become clear. Ning Cheng once again threw out several array flags, causing a narrow passage to appear in front of him and Si Bing. Si Bing was ecstatic in his heart. He simply could not believe it as he looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. I did not expect elder brother Cheng to be an expert in the Tao of arrays. I really am just showing off my slight skill in front of an expert. Let's go. Ning Cheng was the first to rush into the narrow passage. He knew that his consumption was not light. If he ended up being trapped again, then it would really be difficult for him to escape. Si Bing could see that Ning Cheng was not only seriously injured, but also had consumed a lot of his true essence. With this kind of consumption, if it was him, he would have immediately looked for a place to go into seclusion to restore his essence qi. Ning Cheng quickly rushed out of the array formation, and in front of him appeared a black hole. The words Law's Way entrance were written in front of the hole. He simply did not have time to think about it, as Ning Cheng had already rushed in. A few dozen steps later, an incomparably powerful force exploded in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng was almost blown away by this kind of force. He staggered a bit, but then saw Si Bing slowly walking towards him from behind. Although he was in a hurry, but he was much calmer. Chapter 228. Ning Cheng had always been vigilant towards Si Bing. At this time he was seriously injured. Moreover, he was also carrying a person. If Si Bing were to make a move, then it would be the best time. I'm slightly injured. You can leave first. Ning Cheng stopped, this passage leading to the third segment of the Law's Way. He estimated that it was the place where one could truly comprehend the laws. He was not in a hurry to rush over. Moreover, he might not be able to rush over quickly. Si Bing stopped. He looked at Ning Cheng for a while, before he calmly spoke. Elder brother Cheng, although this is the first time that I am walking through this Law's Way, but I want to tell you one thing. That is, from the ancient times until now, those who were able to pass through the Law's Way were all people who had an astonishing comprehension ability, and were people with excellent qualifications. Moreover, I also know a secret, that is, in the Law's Way, no matter how powerful a genius is, they would not be able to bring a person through the Law's Way. If you dare to do so, there will only be one ending. After Si Bing finished, he looked at Yanji with a meaningful look in his eyes, before he cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng, and once again slowly walked into the depths of the Law's Way, and soon disappeared from Ning Cheng's line of sight. Ning Cheng had thought that Si Bing would make his move, but he did not expect that this person would not make his move. Not only did he not make a move, he even kindly reminded him. However, even if he had to fight, Ning Cheng was not afraid of him. Even if he did not fight, he could use the puppet to kill Si Bing. Ning Cheng did not care about this Si Bing anymore, as he sat down and began to heal himself. Just a moment ago, a formidable force had bombarded his sea of consciousness, which had almost thrown him out, which made him realize that the entrance to the Law's Way was not simple at all. One day later, Ning Cheng stood up. The one that caused him the greatest injury was the red arrow that pierced his chest. After a day, although the injury had not completely healed, it was no longer a problem. Then he found an indistinct spiritual consciousness tag on Yanji's neck. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag, Ningqing directly sent Yanji and Grey Toot Toot into his miniature world. Letting Yanji take a trip through the Law's Way, that would be the best outcome. However, Ningqing knew that this was simply unrealistic. Yanji was muddle-headed. It was impossible for her to walk through the Law's Way alone. Yanji could not pass through the Law's Way alone, and it was also meaningless to carry her on his back. It would be better to let her enter the miniature world. With the experience of his sea of consciousness being blasted apart for the first time, Ningqing was even more careful as he walked. This passageway had a dim glow and an extremely obscure Dao aura. Every step he took was extremely difficult, as if he was wading through a quagmire. Not only that, Ningqing also had a feeling that there was a spacious and clean road at the edge of this quagmire. As long as he stepped onto this road, he would not need to trudge through this quagmire. Ningqing's sea of consciousness was clear and bright, with the mysterious yellow origin revolving around his Zifu. He knew what was going on. Once he dared to step onto the side of the clean road, he would immediately be pushed out of the Law's Way, or be strangled to death on this Law's Way. Although the road in front of him was getting more and more difficult to walk on, Ningqing was getting more and more accustomed to it. He even quickened his pace. Not knowing for how long he walked, another obscure aura blasted into Ningqing's mind, causing Ningqing to suddenly stop. Only two words kept spinning and shaking in his mind: Heavenly Tao. What was the heavenly law? Ningqing suddenly felt confused. Ever since he came here, he had been wholeheartedly cultivating. Actually, his main purpose was to return to Earth. But now that he was asked what the heavenly Tao was, he unexpectedly could not answer it. Just as Ningqing fell into confusion, an extremely terrifying force blasted into Ningqing's sea of consciousness. Ningqing felt his whole body tremble. The next moment he unexpectedly flew out upside down. The mysterious yellow origin blocked this explosive force, causing Ningqing to sober up at this moment. He absolutely could not retreat. The heavenly Tao, take away the surplus and make up for the deficiency. Ningqing's sea of consciousness inexplicably came up with such a sentence. He had heard this sentence before. Moreover, he also understood the meaning of this sentence. He had just come up with this idea when the mysterious yellow origin aura that was revolving around the edges of the Zifu suddenly dissipated. His sea of consciousness suddenly expanded, while his core lake also instantly expanded and became even thicker. Just like that, make up for the deficiency? Ningqing felt that his core lake had once again expanded, while the true essence in his core lake was becoming increasingly small. He did not know whether this was a good thing or a bad thing. If this went on, then his cultivation would not rise but would instead fall. However, in any case, the enhancement of his sea of consciousness was ultimately a good thing. With the expansion of his sea of consciousness, and the strengthening of his core lake, the quagmire feeling under Ningqing's feet suddenly disappeared, and in front of him was still an ordinary dark passage. Ningqing sighed. This Law's Way really was a bit strange. With a few more experiences, his speed was even faster. Ka-ka, a soft sound came from under his feet. Ningqing discovered that there were unexpectedly many bones here. The more he went forward, the more bones he saw. Ningqing once again became careful. It seems that he would not be able to pass through this place. It was not necessarily that he would be pushed out. There was also a possibility that he would be directly killed. What made Ningqing puzzled was, after experiencing this feeling, there did not seem to be any obstacles in front of him. It was as if he was walking on an ordinary road. If this continued, then he would soon be able to pass through this Law's Way. Destiny. Ningqing did not have time to rejoice when another voice appeared in his sea of consciousness. Ningqing stopped. With his previous experience, he thought that he knew what to do. As long as he could find his own understanding of destiny, then he could once again move forward. At this moment, Ningqing felt his body involuntarily being swept away by a spatial force, and he once again returned to his childhood. He played in the small mountain village, went to school in the town, and went to Jiangzhou. It was so real that when he and Tian Muan ate together, he could even smell the fragrance of Tian Muan beside him. But soon, Tian Muan threw away the pearl hair clip that he had given her, and swaggered away with other people. He ended up drifting to the Tsongqing province. These were all his experiences, and he went through them again without missing a single detail. In the graceful star mainland, he desperately cultivated in order to tear through the interface as soon as possible. Qi gathering, true condensation, essence building, profound congealing. Ningcheng saw that his cultivation had reached the great circle of the profound core realm. His core lake was finally filled to the brim, allowing him to advance to the soul essence realm at any time. Boom, boom, boom. Boundless thunder fell and tore him into pieces. He didn't even survive the first wave of the thunder tribulation, before he disappeared without a trace. Is this my fate? Ningqing muttered to himself, as he was completely immersed in the sadness of not even leaving behind a corpse. His fate was to be destroyed by the thunder tribulation in a few years. No, this is just my imagination. It is absolutely just my imagination. Ningqing forcibly sobered himself up. After he sobered up, the scene in front of him once again reverted to its original appearance. It was still a dark passage. Ningqing did not immediately move forward. He had already forgotten almost 99% of the things that were in his imagination. The only thing that was clear was the scene of the terrifying lightning arcs falling down, and the scene of him struggling in the middle of the lightning arcs. In the end, was this real or fake? Ningcheng had just thought of this, when a flame suddenly rose up from the depths of his dantian. This flame seemed to want to burn him from the inside out. The terrible pain almost made Ningcheng bring out the true cosmic devil axe, and use it to chop down his dantian. Cultivation deviation. Ningcheng instantly understood what was going on. This was definitely because his mind was affected, causing him to be filled with fear towards the future, which caused him to enter the cultivation deviation. Moreover, this cultivation deviation, he guessed that it was also related to him using the true cosmic devil axe. Even if the thunder tribulation came, I would not necessarily be killed. Even if I was killed, it would still be a matter for the future. But now the mysterious yellow origin, suppress it. Ningqing instantly put aside the scene that had appeared in his mind a moment ago. As for the future, he would think about it later. For now he had to pass through this law's way first. The mysterious yellow bead exuded an inexhaustible amount of origin power, which completely extinguished the internal fire that had just been ignited. The surroundings once again regained its tranquility and tranquility. Ningqing gave a sigh, and continued to move forward. 3 days for days. After the 10th day passed, Ningqing suddenly stopped. In these 10 days he had felt a variety of thoughts, as well as cultivation laws. However, in addition to the first time that he had comprehended the heavenly Tao, which allowed his sea of consciousness to increase in size and his core lake to increase in size, as for the other things, Ningcheng felt that they did not have much effect on him. His mysterious yellow bead, for him, was already an extremely perfect cultivation method, so why would he need to improve his own cultivation in the law's way? Although this law's way was very important to others, but for him, it was nothing much. Ningcheng had just thought of this, when he felt his entire body lighten. The next moment the dim law's way in front of him disappeared without a trace, and he appeared at the foot of a blue mountain. Ningcheng could immediately feel the richer spiritual qi, and the more suitable heaven and earth for cultivation. No matter who it was, they would know that he had finally come out of the law's way. But Ningcheng stood in the same place, as his complexion fluctuated, and even turned somewhat ugly. He once again vaguely remembered the scene that he had fated in the past, when he entered the third segment of the law's way. There were only 2 kinds of people. One was to slowly walk through the passage, and arrive at the third segment. The other was to comprehend the path that belonged to them, and then suddenly be transmitted out of it. Previously, in his imagination, he was precisely the second kind of person. In other words, his imagination was true. And in the future, would he really fall under the thunder tribulation? Ningcheng thought about it alone for a long time, before he slowly breathed out a sigh of relief. Whether it was true or not, with the current size of his core lake, wanting to cultivate to the profound core realm, he estimated that it would be something that would take an indefinite amount of time. If one day he was able to find the heavenly cusp flower and the geocentric 9 essence, then he would come back and trade with that skeleton to see if he could return to Earth. Throwing this burden to the side, Ningcheng felt that his whole body suddenly became light. It was as if a huge pressure had suddenly disappeared, and his mind also became clear. Ningcheng was just about to send Yanji and Grey Toot Toot out, when a violent explosion of true essence arrived. This was a fight between two cultivators. Ningcheng did not even wait for him to use his spiritual consciousness to investigate, when two figures had already arrived not too far away from him. Ningcheng did not step aside, although he only had the cultivation of profound congealing 7th level, but in this place, he really did not fear anyone. But when Ningcheng was able to clearly see the cultivation of these two cultivators, his heart immediately jumped, and his first thought was to run as far away as he could. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.